been the central figure in the Cowboys' array of superstars. But earlier this year, he suffered a fractured collarbone that has forced him to miss the last 5 games. Tonight, Troy returns to the starting lineup.
It's very difficult to stand on the sidelines and watch the team play, and that's regardless of whether the team's playing well or if the team's playing poorly. As a competitor, it's just hard to watch when you're used to being out there on the field and taking part in it. I'm just thankful that it wasn't a season-ending injury for me and that I'll be back playing again. Our hopes for the team have not changed, and everything that we've wanted to accomplish at the end of the year, we still can.
That goal is to march through the regular season and then experience the playoff success that is part of this team's storied past. Tonight is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys on ABC's Monday Night Football. Perfect fall weather in Philadelphia. Beautiful autumn night, temperature in the upper 50s. Veterans Stadium is sold out for a renewal of a great NFC East rivalry. The Dallas Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles. Al Michaels along with Dan Dierdorf and Boomer Esiason. When this season began on opening day, the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the Seattle Seahawks 38-0. And things haven't gotten a whole lot better, but Ray Rhodes, the coach, hopes they can regroup after the bye week. They're averaging a measly 11 points a game. In the meantime, the Dallas Cowboys under new coach Chan Gailey are 4-3 coming off the bye week. And of course, the great news for Cowboy fans, back comes Troy Aikman after a 5-week absence, the broken collarbone. And Dan, how does Gailey and Aikman, how do they approach this game tonight?
2 words, Al: ball control. If one unit has been charged with winning this game for the Dallas Cowboys, it would be their offensive line, because we're going to see a healthy dose of Emmitt Smith tonight. Asking Chan Gailey last night, what do you think, 25 carries or so for Emmitt? He said absolutely, and how about another dozen for Chris Warren? So it's going to be the running game that saves Troy Aikman from having to throw the ball. It's outstanding pass protection. They're the best pass protecting line in the game right now. And Boomer, how many things can we name for the Eagles that have to go right for them to bring this home?
A whole bunch, and really you have to start with their defense. Their defense has played pretty well, but when they get near Troy Aikman, they're going to have to blitz and they're going to have to hit him. I can't imagine that their defense would be a very compassionate bunch tonight. They're going to want to get after him. And then on offense, just let it go. You have a new play caller, Bill Musgrave, who takes over for Dana Bible, their offensive coordinator, and use your best weapon, and your best weapon happens to be Irving Fryer, playing against what many think is the weakest part of the defense, Kevin Smith, a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys. So let it go offensively and hit Troy Aikman hard and a lot.
These two teams have played some beauties through the years. This is the 6th time in the 90s the Cowboys and the Eagles have met on Monday Night Football.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Tom White is the referee tonight, executing the coin toss at Veterans Stadium, with Dallas winning the toss. And the Cowboys will receive. We'll see Aikman immediately, and we'll go down to Leslie Visser.
Al, as you mentioned, it's an awfully tough year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Ray, you know that your team is at or near the bottom of most offensive categories. Where do you think you can have success against the Cowboys?
Well, first of all, we have to try to run the football against this team, and we really feel we can throw the ball also. But offensively, we feel we can move the football against them.
What about for you, Ray? A tough year. You certainly read the papers, you hear the talk shows. Is your job on the line, and how does that affect you?
Well, when you're 1-6, quite naturally, that's not good enough. So, quite naturally, you're going to hear all the talk, all the rumors. But as a coach, you can't concern yourself with. Just go ahead and do the best job you can do.
Maybe you'll start to turn it around. Thanks a lot, Ray. Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Joe Avisano is the Cowboys special teams coach. For the record, when Ray Rhodes came here in 1995, he signed a 5-year deal. This is year 4. And prior to last season, he had turned down an extension. So he passed on that. This is year 4 out of 5. And, well, we'll see what happens, because as he says, when you're 1-6, anything can happen.
But if you had to be 1-6, be 1-6 in the NFC East. The battle cry here for the Eagles: win this game tonight, and you're only 2 games out of first place.
It's hard to believe.
Yes, well, but you're right, hard to believe, but true.
It is true, and it's a long season. If they can end the first half with a win, you never know what can happen in this league. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint.
There is Bill Musgrave. Boomer talked about Musgrave, who was in the Indianapolis Colts camp as a would-be backup quarterback this summer. And now he is, in effect, the offensive coordinator. Chris Bouillon to kickoff. And this is Kevin Mathis bringing it back from the 9. And Mathis out to the 37-yard line. A good run back for the Cowboys against an Eagles special team unit that has been on the improve. Al Wallace makes the tackle. So Troy Aikman guided the Cowboys to a victory in their opening game this season against Arizona, then hurt the next week at Denver. 10th year, the #1 pick in the '89 draft out of UCLA. Behind him, Emmitt Smith and Darrell Johnston in the backfield. Billy Davis and Michael Irvin outside. David LaFleur, the tight end. Allen, Newton, Shiver, Flozell Adams, a rookie, and Eric Williams up front. From the 37-yard line, Aikman going right to the air off the layoff, and of all things, he gets sacked by Hollis Thomas, so he takes an immediate hit.
Well, tonight I think we'd be better off counting the number of times that Philadelphia doesn't blitz. That time James Darling got it started coming from the outside. Thomas finished it off.
And the Philadelphia defensive unit with Thomas picking up the sack there. Harris, Thomas, Bill Johnson, and Hugh Douglas had 4.5 sacks in their last game at San Diego. Darling, Willis, and William Thomas, the linebackers. And then Vincent and Taylor, great cornerbacks with Zordich and Tim McTire at the safety spots. Brian Dawkins hurt, inactive tonight. McTire gets the start. On second down and 18, Emmitt Smith swings to the outside and brings it back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 10. McTire makes the tackle. Let's get an update from Leslie.
Al, before the game, Troy told me that the one thing he most feared happened is exactly what just happened. He has a little bit of padding under his shoulder. He said being driven into this rock-hard turf is the thing I fear most. See if he holds up.
And it is exactly that, Leslie. As you look at Chan Gailey, it is like playing on cement.
It is really one of the worst fields in the NFL. Actually, this Riverfront Stadium and Synergy Field all ranked right there at the bottom of the league.
3rd and 10, and Deion Sanders is in the game. Split wide left. And Aikman out of the shotgun. Gets it away. Hits Deion, and Deion picks up the 1st down. Run out of bounds by Troy Vincent. So the versatile one, the cornerback, the punt returner, the wideout, you name it. He'll run the end around. He'll return kickoffs occasionally.
The Monday night highlight film, really.
I think the crowd just realized it was Deion, not just a fly pattern. There's a good-looking crisp out to Deion Sanders, who's doing more than just running down the field and being more than just a decoy.
And you can see Troy Vincent playing off. If you had to play against the speed of Deion Sanders, you would play off as well.
That's his 5th catch of the year. Remember, he caught a 55-yard bomb in the Monday night game, week 3 against the Giants. Now back to Emmitt they go, and he gets taken down by the ankles by James Willis. Back of the line of scrimmage, a loss of 1.
Now, one of the things that you really can't measure is how emotional a football team will be when you get out on the field. And certainly for the Eagles, who have not played very well thus far, this is a huge game for them. And emotionally, if they can get them and stop them right here in the beginning of the game, that will get this game off to a real good start for them mentally.
One of the things they really bring to the table, confidence. They've had success in the past against Dallas. They really believe they can win.
2nd down and 10 as Emmitt had gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Aikman with that familiar deep drop, steps up and then throws, and it's a low throw, trying to get it into the tight end, David LaFleur.
I think you could see right there with Troy Aikman, he's a little bit nervous in the pocket. He took his first hit, which is always good for a quarterback, especially though for him, because he wants to know how his shoulder is going to respond. But you can see that he's uncomfortable in the pocket right now. He gets good protection. He's trying to step up. He's trying to find somebody. And he looks a little bit out of sync at this point, and that's the way it's probably going to be for the beginning of this game.
Deion is back in the game on 3rd down with 5 wides now. Emmitt Smith comes out. Chris Warren also comes in. They slot him to the right, and that's Warren, the ex-Seahawk, in motion. Aikman to Warren, and Warren is very close to a 1st down. Run out of bounds right at the stick at the 42-yard line by Al Harris.
I don't think he was run out of bounds. I think Al Harris was ran over.
Well, Chris Warren, out of the corner of his eye, he saw where the orange marker was. But again, he got it by, what do you figure, 6 inches? No more. Well, a couple times Philadelphia has thrown Dallas into a tough spot, and they've recovered. But as you can see, not exactly a hot starting team by the Dallas Cowboys offensively.
No touchdowns on their first drive in 30 straight games, or the equivalent of almost 2 full seasons. And it's Smith with a big hole and gets tripped up as he takes it to the 35-yard line. Troy Vincent with the tackle. It's a gain of 7.
When Dallas gets into that 5 wide receiver set, the set that Chan Gailey has basically brought with him from Pittsburgh, is going to put the secondary of the Philadelphia Eagles in a very difficult situation because they don't match up very well.
But it also leaves them without any extra blockers for Troy Aikman. When they go to that 5 wides, he's got to get rid of the ball in the hurry.
Well, you better bring your 6-man quickly and get back there because they have the athletes that can break some tackles.
Second down and 3. Smith averaging 4.3 yards per carry this season. Picks up 3 here, and he's very close to another first down, tackled by Michael Zordich. Chan Gailey, a surprising and stunning choice as the Cowboy coach. With Switzer gone, they talked to Terry Donahue, the ex-UCLA coach. They thought about George Seifert. They interviewed Sherm Lewis from Green Bay, and then all of a sudden, Jerry Jones meets Chan Gailey, and 96 hours or 4 days later, Gailey is the coach of the Cowboys.
But a great choice, though. I mean, this is a guy who has, you know, football in him. He's been around the game a long time. He was a head coach in the World League. He's been an assistant coach. He's been in playoff games. And he's a guy who knows the NFL, knows personnel, and certainly knows how to run offense.
And from a personality standpoint, about as far away from Barry Switzer as you could possibly get. Chan Gailey does not surrender information easily.
No. Put the light on him last night.
Ask a direct question, you'll get a direct answer. But yet he's not rude or impolite or anything like that.
He just doesn't want to give it up. He doesn't trust anybody.
Now we got to try. Third down and inches from the 32-yard line. And this is Emmitt Smith, and he is stopped in his tracks. Steve Martin, no laughing matter. The backup tackle comes in to make the tackle. Martin is a third-year guy out of Missouri.
And we've got an Eagle who's hurt. The guy's about 5 yards off the ball. That's James Darling, the outside linebacker. A great surge at the point of attack. And that is a case where Steve Martin comes in and makes the tackle. If he doesn't, Emmitt might go for 5 or 6.
Injury timeout and 4th down upcoming. Number 9, Penn State. Number 22, Michigan. Headlining the action. Michigan State, Ohio State. A little later on, headlining regional action. Fresno State, San Diego State wraps it up on the West Coast. On 4th down and 1, the Cowboys will at least line up to go for it. They work on James Darling. He's out. Replaced by Mike Caldwell at one outside linebacker spot. So either it's the old trying to draw him offside, but they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. And it is caught by Michael Irvin. And his first catch of the night nets a first down. So they've converted 2 third downs and a 4th down to move the chains.
So that time the Philadelphia Eagles tried to play bump and run on Michael Irvin with Bobby Taylor. And all it was a little 5-yard stop pattern. He made Bobby Taylor think that he was going long, and Troy threw it perfectly on time and gave Michael Irvin the chance to make the play. You can see right here how Michael Irvin's getting off. He actually pushes off a little bit and gets away with it.
Not that. Not Michael Irvin.
He's the king of it.
1st and 10 from the 25. Billy Davis on an end around. Moose Johnston throws a block, but Hugh Douglas, who has good speed, the undersized defensive end, but a guy who's been a sackmeister for the Eagles, runs him down.
Yeah, he only had 4.5 sacks in their game last week against San Diego. 8.5 so far on the season. And you're right, Al, the guy runs like a linebacker. He's got a linebacker's number in 53. And look at that, right down the line of scrimmage. That's outstanding pursuit for a defensive end.
And one of the things about Hugh Douglas that makes him so quick is that when he sees a hole, he goes for it, but that also works against him in the running game. You have to be a consistent player on the defense as well as the offense.
2nd and 8. This is the opening drive of the game. Emmitt Smith cutting it back, swinging to the outside, and with a move from the past, is close to a first down behind blocks by Johnston and Billy Davis.
And you saw there, Hugh Douglas just ran right up the field and left a wide open hole. And you have to understand down, the situation. When you're a defensive end, you have to be able to realize that this is probably a running down. So don't take yourself out of position by always trying to get to the quarterback.
Although I'm assuming that on 2nd and 9 that he, maybe his responsibility is just to go for it upfield. Good call by Chan Gailey, though. He anticipated that and won.
3rd and 1. This is the 13th play of the drive, and Moose Johnston gets stacked up.
There's your buddy Steve Martin again.
Yes, he's right there. Again, a big 3rd down stop.
That's a wild and crazy guy.
He is. And now, earlier on a 4th down play, they eschewed the opportunity for the field goal, which would have been at that point 51 yards, but this is a whole other story. And Richie Cunningham comes out to attempt what will be a 34-yard field goal.
Thank heavens they didn't eschew again.
Right. Don't be eschewing too much. And a timeout is called by the Eagles. Philly takes a timeout. The Dallas Cowboys have had the ball for 7 minutes, 1 second.
The Eagles might have had a dozen guys out there. One over the legal limit.
Still no score with a field goal attempt upcoming. Well, Troy Aikman seeing his first action since the middle of September.
And Chan Gailey is saying, man, it's mighty fine to be talking to you.
You betcha.
Nothing against Jason Garrett, but nothing like my man Troy.
33-yard field goal attempt coming up for Richie Cunningham to try to give the Cowboys the lead. And it is good. So the opening drive pays off with 3. And with 7:54 remaining in the opening quarter. 3-0 Dallas. The Eagles will finally get the ball almost halfway through the first quarter. Allen Rossum, a rookie out of Notre Dame, is their run back man, number 25. And Toby Goen, the Cowboy punter, and also kickoff specialist, will tee it up with 7:54 left in the opening quarter. Dallas coming in on top in the NFC East with a mark of 4-3. Arizona 4-4, and then the Giants losing yesterday to Washington 3-5. And the kick away from Rossum to Russell Copeland. And Copeland, one of the Eagle wide receivers, goes down, and a flag goes down. That's the first penalty of the night. Tom White is the referee.
You have a holding against the Eagles, and really this is the type of things that happen to teams that are 1-6. It's you give up a 7-minute drive. You
holding number 35 during the return, 10-yard penalty, first down.
You have a penalty on your opening kickoff. These are the type of things that losing teams go through.
Rodney Peete is the quarterback. They started the year with Bobby Hoying, and it's been Hoying, Peete, Hoying again, and now it's Peete. And Rodney with Charlie Gardner and Kevin Turner in the backfield, Fryer and Copeland outside, and Dunn the tight end. We will also see quite a bit of Deuce Staley out of the backfield tonight, even though Gardner is listed as the starter. Staley has done most of the rushing of late. Down. Rodney Peete rolling and throwing a wobbly pass, and the nearest intended receiver was Irving Fryer. And it takes the Philly crowd exactly one offensive play to start a cascade of boos. Trey Thomas, a rookie, Jermaine Mayberry, Everett, Beckles, and Cooper in the interior 5.
Boomer, would you describe that, please?
I can't describe that, but the only thing I can tell you is that they're impatient here, and rightfully so. The 30th ranked offense in football right here.
Well, there were some leftover boos from the last home game. 2nd down and 10 from the 18-yard line. And this is Charlie Gardner working his way up to the 24. Let's take a look now at the Cowboy defensive unit. Up front, they're trying to get more push. And they've got Pittman, the big cat, Leon Lett, Hennings, and Ellis, the good-looking rookie from North Carolina. Godfrey, Strickland, and Coakley are the linebackers. In the secondary, Smith and Sanders, Stoutmeyer, and Woodson. Dion as good as they come as you look at Kavika Pittman, but Kevin Smith is a guy they've been picking on left and right, and they've thrown 6 touchdown passes either over or under or through Kevin Smith to this point this season. 3rd down and 5. from the 24 with the play clock ticking down. And Pete scrambling, running for the first down, and has it as Rodney gets up to the 32-yard line, tackled there by Leon Leck.
You see what happened there is Rodney Pete tried to change the play at the line of scrimmage because he felt like the defense of the Dallas Cowboys was going to blitz, and in the middle of his audible, the Dallas defense then audibled and went back to a normal defense, and Rodney had to take off with the football. You can see here he's just running with the ball, running for his life, and he makes the first down and does a good job of staying low.
That for his arm or hand, he comes out, and McCormick takes his spot at least for one play, and Pete going deep on first down the sideline, and it is pulled in, and the official is going to say in. One said in, the other says out. Kevin Smith was the cover man. Dietrich Gels had gotten loose down the sideline, but he was on the chalk.
You can see this is probably why Bill Musgrave is here. He wants to go on first down and throw the ball deep. We talked about Kevin Smith's problems here at the beginning of the season, but really, I think a lot of the times people are throwing away from Deion Sanders, so Kevin Smith is going to get the bulk of the work in the secondary. But right now, this is the type of thing that Ray Rhodes wants out of his offense. He wants them to be more aggressive and throw the ball down the field. But you have to get the plays in quicker.
It is 2nd and 10, and Philadelphia takes a timeout.
They were down to 1 second on the play clock.
Right.
And you can see Rodney Pete's going to argue with the referee now about how quick that play clock was running.
Well, they were arguing the call, and it cost them some time, and they've already used 2 timeouts.
There you see Bill Musgrave with the hat on right there talking to the official. You know, the Eagles signed him September 10th. He actually tried out for the Indianapolis Colts. He is now calling the plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Ray Rhodes says he knew him from his days in San Francisco and feels very comfortable about having him do that.
2nd down and 10 after the timeout, and Charlie Garner swings to the outside. Sanders misses him, but at least slows him up, and then Coakley comes in to finish him off.
Well, that's pretty good run support, and there's a good look at Dana Bible, a guy you know pretty well, Boomer.
Yeah, Dana was our offensive coordinator in Cincinnati, and you know it's a different game. The to the right you'll see Dana Bible, and the NFL game is a much different game than college, and Dana has to reacclimate himself back to the pro game. And right now, you know, the Eagles are trying to do anything to get their offensive started, and it's not all Dana's fault, but the fact of the matter is they feel more comfortable with Bill Musgrave at this point calling the plays.
3rd down and 7 from the 35-yard line. Pete throws, and that's dropped, and that's been a bugaboo for the Eagles all season long. That's Russell Copeland dropping it. Wouldn't have had the first down anyway, and the Eagles are forced to punt.
You know, and we talked about Bobby Hoyne a little bit. You know, Bobby Hoyne's shell-shocked right now. He got beat up pretty good in the first few games of the season and started looking at the rush. At least that's what Ray Rhodes was feeling like, and he felt, hey, look, this kid's got a bright future. Let's sit him on the sideline. Let's let him watch a little bit and learn.
Deion Sanders getting the crowd very much into it as Hutton's line drive boot bounces at the 30 and then takes a right turn.
Smart Pretty play. Much what Ray Rhodes told us. Under no circumstances am I kicking the ball to Deion Sanders.
28-yard line, out it goes. Cowboys get it back.
This was the Eagles' last play. Watch Rodney Pete at the end of this. He's going to get caught in a sandwich between Pittman and right there Ellis. And when this was over, as we went to a commercial break, Rodney went sprinting into the Eagles' locker room to get some attention from the medical staff. He is bleeding there on his right hand between the fingers, and we'll get a report to you as quickly as possible.
And Bobby Hoyne had started to warm up. Cowboys have it now from the 28-yard line. Aikman throws, and over the middle, it's David LaFleur, the tight end, who springs loose for some extra yardage. There is Hoyne after LaFleur picks up 8 on the pass.
That's why you and I go into a room. There's a synchronized wave.
Synchronized waving. Yes. You and me, baby. Synchronized swimming.
Let's not get carried away.
2nd and 3 from the 35-yard line. Emmett Smith, and he gets to the 39. A lot of people thinking that Emmett just wasn't the old Emmett last year, and he wasn't. He wasn't. Could have been the fact that he was battered much of the year, but this year he has Chris Warren, who's taking some of the load off, and Emmett may not look the way he did in 1994, but he looks pretty good.
Well, the Cowboys, the same old Cowboys last year.
Well, the one thing he's getting that I think anyone who's watched this team play this year is he's getting considerably better blocking out of his offensive line here in 1998 than he got last year. That unit underperformed last year.
1st and 10, Eagles blitz. Aikman has a tip by William Thomas.
And that hurts when a quarterback gets hit right in the middle of his throwing motion like that, does it not?
And when you fall down on this hard AstroTurf, again, we talk about one of the worst fields in the NFL in terms of falling on it because it is so hard and there's no give underneath it. And Ray Rhodes said he's going to blitz, and we're going to get after him, and we're going to hit him. There is no compassion in the NFL for guys who are coming off injuries. I mean, this is, these are the types of things that you want to do as a defense.
And he falls right on his left side. Keep in mind, it was his left clavicle that was broken. We asked Ray Rhodes, are you going to blitz? He goes every way conceivable.
2nd and 10, and this is Emmitt Smith, and he can't get out of the traffic created by the blitz. And it's Hugh Douglas who's the first guy to knock him down behind the line of scrimmage.
I think the good news is that, Troy Aikman actually has taken 2 hits. And he's gotten up from it. The bad news is that he's actually had to take those hits. Those are things that, Chan Gailey said, hey, we're going to protect him. I think everybody knows that we have to protect him. It's not something that we're talking about. But so far, they haven't done a good job of handling the blitz.
See, even Troy Aikman's wearing the old plays on his left forearm.
I can't believe that.
This guy's been around a long time, Boomer.
And he's a smart guy.
He's got him on the left. He's got him on the right.
Hey, Jason Garrett went to Princeton, and he's wearing them. 3rd and 17, and this is caught by Ernie Mills, but well shy of the first down. He's bumped out of bounds by Bobby Taylor at the 41, 4th and 8, and the Cowboys to punt.
See, now the UCLA alumni are going to be after you, Al.
Absolutely.
They're going to say, well, a Princeton guy shouldn't wear them, but a UCLA guy should.
Jake Plummer probably doesn't wear one.
Well, he probably doesn't. I think they have the 30th ranked offense in football.
Wonderful. He should. 4th and 2. 4th and 8, rather, as Alan Rossum gets back for the Eagles to accept the kick off the foot of Toby Goen. Good, high, spiraling, booming kick. Rossum, the Notre Dame rookie from the 7, and he gets hog-tied at the 10-yard line.
Oh, Dick Butkus would be proud.
Hopefully. And there's a marker down back at the line of scrimmage at the 39-yard line. Tom White, the ref.
Holding. Number 70, the kicking team.
Well, they will kick it again. Philadelphia will certainly make the Cowboys do it one more time and maybe escape some really bad field position here.
The hold was
finally
on
a break.
Dale Hellestray, who is also the snapper. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services. You deserve a higher level of service. That's why United Airlines is rising. Lexus, where even the pursuit is exhilarating. And AT&T, it's all within your reach. Rodney Peete, he has a cut on his finger, and they're telling us his return is questionable. It's on his throwing hand, so.
And Bobby Hoying has his helmet on the Philadelphia sideline. He's going to come in with the offense.
Now Toby going to kick again. A much shorter kick, and Rossum from the 18-yard line swings to the outside. And is finally taken down at the 28. The flag comes in at the end of the play.
And you're going to have a clip, it looks like, on number 58. Ike Reese.
Just when they pick up about 16 positive yards by making Dallas re-kick, now that's going to be squandered if this penalty does go against Philadelphia.
And this is a serious rookie mistake where there was no chance. Actually blocking below the waist. There was no chance for Reese to make the block, and he became overzealous and threw himself.
And Ray Rhodes meets him about 5 yards onto the field.
personal foul. Low block, number 53. During the return, half the distance to the goal, first down.
It was 58, not 53. It was Reese.
Right. And you could see right here, number 58 diving at the legs. You cannot do that on a special teams play. You cannot go below the waist. Didn't look like he really hit him much, but the intent was there, and it maybe just caught him a little bit.
And the penalties wind up canceling each other. They're back where they would have been without the first penalty, the 11-yard line. And they're also back to their opening day quarterback in Bobby Hoying. So from the 11, they begin this drive. Fumble by Charlie Garner. And nothing but white shirts are there, and the Cowboys have the football. Kavika Pittman recovers it.
I don't think Garner ever got the handoff from Hoying. I'm not sure Charlie ever got a chance to put that football away. Wow, these are the mistakes that 1-6 football teams make. Turning it over in your own territory against a superior football team. This is football death. No, Charlie never got control of the football. One hopper right to Kavika Pittman.
You know, from that angle, it looked like it was a pretty decent handoff. I don't know if Charlie Garner was looking at the defensive line and not concentrating on the handoff, or Bobby Hoying put it up a little bit too high on his chest.
First down goal now from the 9. Emmitt Smith to the outside and tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Bill Johnson.
One thing about the Eagle defense that we've seen tonight, though, they're hustling. They're getting to the ball. There's a gang tackling going on. They have speed on their defensive side of the football. And to me, Dan, I would think, you know, if you're a defensive player in that huddle right now, you got to be saying, what is going on?
Well, Boomer, if there's been one hallmark of this football team since Ray Rhodes became the head coach, it has been the tenacity with which they play defense.
Second and goal. The Cowboys much better this year than last in the red zone when they were awful. And Aikman throws, and Irvin makes the catch for his first touchdown of the season.
Michael is off the snide.
Bobby Taylor with the coverage, one-on-one, and Irvin goes halfway into the campaign before he gets into the end zone.
And he really went 9 games because he didn't score in the final 2 games of last year. It has been a long time since Michael Irvin has caught a touchdown pass, and might have something to do with the return of number 8.
This is a terrific throw. It's a little corner pattern, or down and out corner pattern. They isolated Michael Irvin and gave him an opportunity to get to the outside. It was put right on the money.
Cunningham for the point after. So Garner's fumble gives them a first and goal. And the Dallas Cowboys, with 1:27 seconds remaining in the opening quarter, have moved out to a 10-0 advantage.
You think Michael's a little happy about this? Great pass protection up front. Look at the look that Troy Aikman gets. No Eagle anywhere near him. Bobby Taylor, as he will be all this game, locked up one-on-one on Michael Irvin a good 90% of the time. With that much time, Taylor has a difficult time trailing Michael Irvin through the end zone.
You know, Michael Irvin is 6'2", but he has such a long reach with those arms, and Troy did a real nice job of putting that ball high and away so Bobby Taylor couldn't make a play on it. And these are the things that you work on in practice. When you get down into the end zone, as a quarterback, you either want to throw a low ball to a slanting inside receiver, or if you get a receiver working the sidelines or the back of the end zone, throw the ball high. So he's the only one that can make the play.
Well, while Michael is dispensing some love over on the Cowboys sideline, I'd go up to every one of the guys on the offensive line and thank them for allowing Troy that much time and that good of a look.
That's the one time that the Eagle defense didn't blitz. And you wonder if they blitz because they feel like they can't get pressure with a 4-man defensive line. So that time the Cowboy offense, especially the offensive line, did a wonderful job of keeping them out.
Toby going with the kickoff. Copeland fields at the 10-yard line. And brings it back only to the 17. The Eagles have made improvements on the special teams as Darren Hambrick makes the tackle. They were terrible last year. They went out and they brought John Harbaugh, Jim's younger brother, in to coach the special teams, and at least until tonight had been performing much better.
The one thing I see about the Eagles, Al and Dan, over the years is just a lot of inconsistency in how many coaches they have here, front office personnel changing, and you can take a look at the results right here. I mean, the loss of Ricky Waters and the new head coach of the Oakland Raiders, who's doing a great job out there, John Gruden.
Deuce Staley is now in the backfield. Bobby Hoying, the quarterback, and Irving Fryar drops it. Pass a little behind him, but clearly catchable. And Irving, at the age of 36, frustrated with himself at 2nd down and 10. You know, the most amazing figure, I think, of the 3 statistics we just showed you was 3.8 yards per play. That includes passing. If you average 3.8 per rush, that's below the league rushing average.
It's a team that has struggled all year long to find itself offensively, and the desperation of bringing a guy in who knows the West Coast offense and letting him start calling plays is obviously a signal of that desperation.
2nd and 10, they give it to Deuce Staley, and Deuce out past the 30, the 40, and Staley gets tripped up at the 42 by the fleet Omar Stoutmire.
Well, finally, some life from Philadelphia's offense. Al mentioned early in the game, even though Charlie Garner starts at Deuce Staley, in the words of Ray Rhodes, is the workhorse of this offensive running attack. But this is just outstanding blocking. Excellent lead block by Kevin Turner, the fullback. Off the left side, tackle Trey Thomas. And Stoutmire gets an ankle on Deuce Staley. That's all.
A 46-yard pickup for the 2nd-year guy out of South Carolina, and now Staley takes it to the 35-yard line, gain of 2.
You know, really, when you have a play like that, a big play like that, gives you an opportunity as an offense to get in the huddle, get out of the play, get to the line of scrimmage, and get another play called immediately while the defense is still a little disoriented of actually what is going on here. And what I see is an offense struggling to get into the huddle.
But it ends on an up note. End of 1, Dallas 10, Philadelphia nothing. And Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Cowboy owner Jerry Jones and his wife Jean looking on from their box in Philadelphia as we start the 2nd quarter. Al Michaels with Dan Dierdorf, Boomer Esiason, and Leslie Visser. The Eagles trailing 10-0, have Hoying rolling, and then it's batted down, but a flag comes in as Darren Woodson got a hand on it and then turns around and says, how can you throw that flag?
Well, Woodson had his hand on the back of the receiver, and that's what they're going to call. You know, you're allowed to put that hand back there.
Pass interference. Number 28, defense. It's a 1st down.
As long as you don't move the guy's torso, as long as the official doesn't see any body movement. Well, and not only that, but he wrapped up his left arm.
Very close, but you know, Bobby Hoying actually had Jason Dunn deeper down the field for a touchdown, wide open, and really a struggling young quarterback's going to try to do everything a little bit more quickly than he normally would.
Whistle before the snap.
You know, they don't see the field quite as clearly when they're struggling, and they want to get rid of the ball quickly, and they want to try to make plays as fast as they can.
Prior to the snap, false start, 86 offense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Russell Copeland. Numbers through the first quarter of play, and the Dallas Cowboys controlling the football. Remember, they had the ball for over 7 minutes on their opening possession.
You see the Eagles a total of 61 yards. What, 40 some of those yards came on that run by Deuce Staley. Not a single passing yard for the Birds. And that is for the Birds.
Yes, it is. 1st down and 15. Hoying throws, and that's picked off at the 10-yard line. So they call a penalty on Woodson, and Woodson says, in effect, take that.
So he goes to throw the ball now to Jason Dunn, and Jason Dunn stumbles, and out comes an interception. I mean, these are things that you can't even fathom are going to happen in a football game, especially when you drop back the pass. You think you have a guy, you deliver the ball confidently, your receiver falls down, and an interception.
Well, for the first time this game, you finally get to play the game in Dallas territory. You're down there in scoring position. where you know you can come out of this with something. How frustrating.
It's frustrating for a young quarterback like Bobby Hoyne. He delivers the ball on time, and you can see Jason Dunn falls down. I mean, these are things that are unexplainable, and this is what happens to an offense that really basically has no confidence in itself right now.
10-0 Dallas. Opening stages of the second quarter. First down, Cowboys from their own 11-yard line. And a huge hole for Emmitt Smith and a first down. He bounces his way out toward the 24. Before this night is done, Emmitt Smith may very well become the all-time leading rusher in the history of Monday Night Football. Needed 50 yards coming into the game.
To put, Tony Dorsett is the leader.
And he has 33 right now.
So one Cowboy is chasing another. No surprise, is it? The amount of success the Dallas franchise has had over the years, and especially on Monday Night Football.
Dorsett amassed his total in 25 games. For Smith, this is only his 19th game on Monday night. First down from the 24-yard line. Getting rid of it, and it's incomplete. Trying to dump it off for Moose Johnston.
You know, Al, it was actually on a Monday night game in Chicago that a lot of people thought was the beginning of the end of Emmitt Smith's career. Remember when he went up over the top and landed on his head? A lot of people have said he's never been the same since. It's nice to see him coming back.
Opening night in 1996 at Soldier Field, and there it is, most rushing yards in a career Monday night. Tony Dorsett, 1897, including that 99.5-yard run.
16 to tie, 17 to go.
Second down and 10 from the 24-yard line. Aikman on that tight roll, and the pass is incomplete. Trying to get it in there to Ernie Mills, the ex-Steeler.
I was talking to Troy a little bit before the game. He said he still has a little pain, up in his shoulder area, but he didn't seem too concerned about, his throwing motion or how well he was going to be able to play tonight. And Troy Vincent does a nice job of staying right on top of Davis right there, and Troy's trying to throw the ball low and away.
Did you ever break a collarbone, Boomer?
I've never broken anything, Dan.
No kidding?
Never.
You've never had a broken bone in your life?
Never.
Oh, you lucky man.
No surgery either.
Did you ever break an ashtray?
I could break an announcer.
Third down. Dan's protecting me. Dropped by Ernie Mills. 4th and 10.
I'm in the middle of this. I could break an announcer.
Actually, give credit to the Eagle defense there. I mean, they held him. It was a chance for the Dallas Cowboys to really take over this football game. But the defense rose to the occasion and held them. And now, now the Eagles, if they get some return yardage here, it can help their offense a little bit.
Al, have you noticed how short-tempered he's become recently?
He's become very truculent. Boomer, you do know what truculent means, right?
Oh, don't start with me again.
A lack of respect, Al. I'm concerned.
Toby Golan. It's a punt. It's fielded at the 23-yard line by Allen Rawson. And he brings it back to the 39-yard.
Whoa, there's a hit way after the play.
But
no flag.
No flag on it.
Now, we do have a conference going on here.
You have an official running around without a hat on.
Back up around the 35-yard line. We've got Tom White's carrying on a conversation here.
During the kick, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 35 on the receiving team went out of bounds and hit the kicking team player. There'll be a 15-yard penalty. First down, timeout.
That is the second penalty on one Anthony Marshall. And it backs up the Eagles. Well, the Dallas Cowboys defense pitching a shutout so far as the Philadelphia Eagles are backed up to their own 11-yard line early in the second quarter. Deuce Staley is the running back. Actually, now Deuce is split to the right, and they give it to Irving Fryer on the end around. And the venerable wide receiver with a nice game. Out of bounds he goes. Deion Sanders pushes him out at the 24-yard line. Primetime football this weekend. Sunday night ESPN. The Tennessee Oilers, off their win against the Steelers yesterday, take on the Tampa Bay Bucks, who knocked off Minnesota. And the next Monday night, we go into Pittsburgh for a matchup you don't see very often. The Green Bay Packers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. With the vagaries of the schedule, those two teams just don't meet too often. But that's the matchup, and a good one is it's fumbled. A fumbled snap by Hoying, who falls on it at the 22-yard line.
All right, so you have fumbled snaps, fumbled handoffs, drop passes, and penalties. These are the things that obviously are plaguing the Philadelphia Eagles. It really doesn't matter who's calling the plays. If your players are not just executing the simple things on offense, you're not going to have a chance to be successful.
Not much simpler, is there, than the exchange between center and quarterback?
Well, you know, I've fumbled my share of snaps too, but it was always the center's fault, by the way. But
we never doubted that.
Second down and 12. Hoying gets sacked back at the 18-yard line. Here come the Boo Birds again. It's Michael Myers playing in the same game with Steve Martin, who makes the stop.
He was Wayne, right?
Yes,
Not Garth. He was.
You can see what Bill Musgrave's doing. He's trying to move Bobby Hoying around a little bit, get him out of the pocket, give him a chance to make a throw on the run, and try to make a play without having to sit in there and feel the pressure of the oncoming pass rush. It's sound theory, but if your team is not able to make the play, and certainly it's going to look disoriented.
I'm scanning my roster looking for Dana Carvey.
He's here. Third down and 15. And Hoying under pressure throws, and that's incomplete.
Well, that was a good-looking series, wasn't it?
It just looks like an offense that doesn't really care. I mean, they're walking off the field. You can see it in their body language. They have no confidence. I mean, it's something that has to come from the players first.
Well, they have scored a whopping 79 points in their first 7 ball games. And as you can see so far, they haven't padded that total at all.
Now Tommy Hutton with a low line drive kick right at Deion, but Deion angry because the ball takes a sideways hop. And it's down at the 45, and there's a flag down at the 26-yard line.
The crowd is even booing. I think they'd like to see Deion Sanders take a whack at it.
Out of
ineligible man downfield against the Eagles.
Yeah, it's awfully good field position to turn down, but they...
Eligible lineman, number 89, and the kicking team downfield. That penalty is declined. Timeout.
To pass it up when you have it at your own 45.
And that's where the Cowboys will start. 11:55 to the half. 10-0 Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys on top 10-0, and they have the ball at their own 45-yard line. 1st and 10 with 11:55 remaining in the opening half. Troy Aikman on the shelf after 5 weeks because of the broken collarbone. Hands the ball off to Emmitt Smith, who picks up 2. He's tackled in the middle by James Willis.
Now this is the point in the ball game where the old Dallas Cowboys would put their foot on the throat of an opponent and just start the process of putting them away.
You know, the interesting thing about that is that when I was a young player at Cincinnati Bengals, Paul Brown used to tell us, never lift up your heel to reset because you'll allow them to get out from underneath you. and really, it was a good analogy. I mean, the fact of the matter is you are the better football team, and you should keep your foot firmly planted on their throat.
Especially on the road.
Here's Smith. And Emmitt picks up a hard yard up to the 48.
You've taken the crowd out of the game. You are in control, and this is just a classic opportunity where you almost put this thing away. Face it, this is a football team that averages 11 points a game.
And Dallas almost there.
Dallas has almost covered that. Almost made it an impossible task for the Eagles.
You know, and it's eerie here. This sounds like it's a preseason game in August. I mean, it just the fans don't seem to be in it. And if the Cowboys don't make any mistakes, it should remain that way.
3rd down and 6. Sanders in the game. Aikman out of the gun. He's going to swing it out to the near side to Chris Warren, who slips a tackle. And then Warren falls forward to the 49 of the Eagles, but shy of the first down. He's tackled there by Tim McTire.
Well, kudos to Philadelphia's defense. That is the way to play 3 aggressive downs and swarm to the football. Nobody's telling these guys here that we're 1-6 and we don't have a chance to win this ball game. Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator, to this point in time, has got to be pretty happy with the effort being shown by his defensive football team.
And that's what you have to do on defense, is play with effort.
They'll be going to punt. This time they send Freddie Solomon back to accept the kick. He calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 10-yard line. Philly ball there again. Rodney Peete, that cut finger, return uncertain. So Hoying comes back to lead the offense. 10-0 Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys trying to remain on top in the NFC East, coming into Philadelphia with a mark of 4-3 in a division where 10 wins is almost certain to win it. The Eagles -3 in passing yardage to this point, and we have played more than 50 minutes from the 9 on the ground, and the handoff goes to Charlie Garner for a gain of 4. Monday Night Football from Philadelphia is being brought to you by OnNet from MCI WorldCom, your one connection to the world. Ford Taurus, Ford built to last. And Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and the Super Bowl.
My guess is 9 wins easily wins the NFC East.
Yes, 9 can do it. Even 8 might do it. It's happened once before in the AFC Central back in '85. Second down and 8, and this is caught by Turner, and they finally get some positive yardage with their passing game up to the 20-yard line.
Well, it's a good safe play. It was a nice call by Bill Musgrave, just trying to get something to get a forward momentum a little bit. I mean, and Dan, you and I were talking off air for a minute there, just looking at the body language, you know, of the players in the Eagle huddle. And I know that it's frustrating because you're not moving the ball very well, but still there has to be some aggressiveness in the way you walk and carry yourself.
You can't just get to the point, even though it's been happening to you with some rapidity, you just can't get to the point where you accept mistakes. You've still got to get upset.
Flag is down. The toss was a little behind Garner. He goes down after a gain of 1.
You just can't fall into that trap of losing when something goes wrong, of thinking to yourself, here it happens again, here it comes again. It's so difficult to work yourself out of that losing mindset.
Offsides, number 97. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Holding, number 87. Offense, penalties offset. First down.
You know, you're right, Dan. And if you've been around Philadelphia or if you've been here and you're a player here in the last 5 weeks, it has not been easy. I mean, you've had to read about it, you've had to hear about it, and you're constantly reminded about how bad your football team is.
The NFC East, as you can see at the very bottom there, 5-17 division. As Hoying goes deep and too deep, and at least he tried to test Dion, who's step for step with Irving Fryer.
Irving Fryer would have to strap a cruise missile to his back at age 36 to get past Deion Sanders.
Actually, Deion Sanders, he was beat a little bit, but, you know, I think that Deion allows you to get past him just so he could tease you and then try to make a play on it. You know, Deion will be the first to tell you, don't throw that ball near me because I'll make a play on it.
We heard that in our pregame show.
And 10 from the 21-yard line. Kevin Turner. Turner's a fullback, playing as the ace back in that set, and takes it up to the 24-yard line.
You know, we talked about it a little bit earlier. You know, they've lost John Gruden, who is doing an unbelievable job out in Oakland. I mean, he's really, you know, reignited the fire in the Oakland Raiders. They look great right now. You know, and they've lost Ricky Waters, you know, a player who I thought very highly of as a football player. When you put the pads on, he was a guy who wanted the football. And there was some baggage that came along with it. You know, you always want to complain a little bit. Not a little bit, probably complain a lot. But still, a great football player.
1,110 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's a lot of production missing.
And you have to replace him.
3rd and 6. Cowboys show blitz. Here they come. Boeing lost it and reaching for it, but unable to come up with a catch.
Man.
Because Kevin Smith provided the coverage.
A lot
and
of
Russell
contact.
Copeland is saying it was illegal.
Kevin Smith provided a lot of contact along with that coverage.
The good thing about that last play, even though it wasn't complete, Bobby Hoyne recognized the blitz. He made an audible at the line of scrimmage and threw a perfect ball to Copeland. It went right through the hands. You can't see from that angle, but it went right through the hands of Copeland. So maybe a little something good there for Bobby Hoyne.
Tommy Hutton gets the kick away. Dion has to call for the fair catch at the 36-yard line.
I don't know what Hutton's doing kicking the ball down the middle of the field, but you are.
Well, give Matt Stevens a lot of credit for the Eagles because he was the gunner that got down there and forced Sanders into a fair catch.
Troy Aikman, 7 out of his first 12 coming off that 5-week layoff. And the touchdown pass to Michael Irvin. It's the only touchdown of the night thus far. 7:04 to the half. 10-0 Big D as Emmitt Smith takes it up to the 42-yard line.
You know, the one thing about trying to play ball control on the road like this, it keeps the game close.
Flag down.
It keeps the game close, and it will continue to give the Philadelphia Eagles an opportunity to maybe score some points somewhere along the line, whether it be in special teams or even a defensive score. Because right now, you know, if you're the Cowboys,
Number 79, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
you know, you want to go after them. You don't want to be sitting there kind of making this game short and not scoring a lot of points.
Eric Williams, the right tackle that time, flagged for the hold and really negated a very nice run by Emmitt Smith.
And 20 now from the yard line.
The LaFleur moving that time. Seems like now the Cowboys are taking a play out of the page out of the playbook of the Eagle offense.
Well, this will drive Chan Gailey crazy. This is just the Cowboys.
False start prior to the snap. Number 89 offense, 5-yard penalty.
Maybe we get a safety out of this.
This is a case of the Cowboys being so self-assured and maybe feeling a little too confident about this thing. Their concentration is waning a bit. That'll make coaches crazy.
Stand 25 from the 21-yard line. Aikman tries to get it all back and more, and Michael Irvin has to look back over his shoulder, and Troy Vincent is there with the coverage. 2nd down.
When we talk about the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles, they do have 2 really solid corners in Vincent and Bobby Taylor, and athletic corners that can go after the football, that can make plays. So defensively, they have some players on that side of the football that they can build the defense around. But it's not the defense that was here in the early 90s.
No, it's not.
No, it's a different football team. It's a different type of defense, but it's still one that's, you know, it's a pretty formidable group, especially in the secondary.
2nd and 25. As Emmitt Smith picks up a couple up to the 25-yard line.
That defense in the early 90s with Jerome Brown and Reggie White and Seth Joyner and on and on and on.
They would assault you. Clyde Simmons.
Clyde Simmons.
I mean, you came out of the locker room and you knew, you looked down the other end of the field. I mean, it was an intimidating group of guys down there, and they were coached by an intimidating coach in Buddy Ryan.
Yep.
Oh.
Andre Waters.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. They'd line up 8 guys around the line of scrimmage and say, "Come and get us."
3rd and 21. On in the game. Aikman scrambling and has to slide to a stop smartly at the 25-yard line.
You know, these are types of things now that he's going through. He's got to get back into the flow of the game as a quarterback. He's got to see the field. The Eagles did a nice job of just dropping 8 guys off and rushing 3. And really, that's frustrating for a quarterback. You know, he wants to come in, he wants to have a a positive game right off the bat. But, hey, you got to get back in there and you got to feel it again.
And, it's being flushed out of the pocket to his right against Denver that resulted in Troy breaking his collarbone. Same scenario there, and he sat down, as Al said, smartly.
Going kicks to the 25-yard line. Allen Rossum back to the 30. If nothing else, the Eagle defense doing its best to keep the team.
Eagles offense could undergo a little home improvement right now.
Major renovation, I think.
And if you're Dallas, so you play it smart, and you're Troy, you play it smart. You know that the opposing team's offense is having trouble. You don't have to do anything stupid. Don't take any chances. Just let your punter punt it away and play field position.
Down from the 31. If you joined us late, Rodney Peete started at quarterback. Spindler on a throwing hand and has not been seen since, as Irving Fryer makes the catch and picks up a couple of extra yards before he's bumped out of bounds.
Nice job by Kevin Turner of coming back and picking off Fred Strickland there, giving Fryer a shot at a few extra yards. It's any sign of life by this Eagle offense would be greatly appreciated.
But what Kevin Turner did there is exactly the things that you need. You got to help one another on the field. You have to do things. He was able to pick Strickland off of Fryer, gave Fryer an opportunity to gain 2 or 3 more yards. But those are the little things that you see successful offenses doing time and again.
4 minutes, 37 seconds, please.
2nd and 3. They're resetting the game clock.
And guys like Kevin Turner and Steve Everett, their center, and Charlie Garner and Deuce Staley and Irving Fryer. I mean, they have enough players where they can do some things with them. And they have to rise up. Those players, when they have the opportunity to make plays, they have to make them.
And Dallas hasn't put them away yet.
Nope.
2nd and 3 from the 38-yard line. Fake toss, going on a roll, and then overshoots Jason Dunn because he was being pursued by the big cat.
The big cat is a fast cat.
Well, he has great explosion off the ball. And for a man his size, there's Dave Campo, the defensive coordinator there on the right. Just tremendous explosiveness for a guy of that size. I mean, Leon is 6'6", 290. Gets off the ball, but look how well he runs upfield.
And you could see it. And Changeli was telling us that he had a great week of practice, that he looks like he's about as healthy as he's been in 2 years. And obviously that's evidence of that right there.
3rd down and 3. And this is Garner to the 41-yard line, and a first down, apparently. Very close to it.
Ooh, might be a little short.
Very close.
But a healthy Leon Letdan will take this club a long way defensively.
Yeah, you're right, Boomer. He strained his knee back in training camp, his left knee. He's wearing a brace on it right now, and while he's not 100%, he's as Boomer said, as close as he has been all year. And look at that.
All right.
It's Paul McGuire.
It's not a miracle at the Meadowlands, but it's
right.
But a guy like Leon Lett, a guy like Bruce Smith, players like that are on the football field, you have to account for as an offensive play caller, as an offensive coordinator. And these guys can make the difference on any play during the course of a football game.
From the 41, the Eagles operating out of the shotgun. Irving Fryer is the man in motion.
And Boomer, to take that a step further, it's really difficult to get a real playmaker at that defensive tackle position. Defensive ends, you think of as playmakers.
False start. Entire offensive line. 5 yards. First down.
Well, that certainly spreads the blame. But when you get a John Randall or a Bryant Young or a Leon Lett, somebody that's got the ability to create that chaos inside.
Yes.
Right.
And they'll hit a gap, and they have the strength.
Right.
And they have the leverage to get below players. And the thing about Leon Lett that's so amazing is how tall he is and his ability to get below the offensive lineman.
1st and 15. And that's incomplete. Dan, instead of spreading the blame on that, I mean, when it's the entire offensive line, isn't the center a little more culpable than everybody else?
Yes, it would be nice if he snapped it whenever.
Yes. Another flag here.
Well, we will get one number here, I'm sure.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Number 62 offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Ian Beckles.
Boy, we're becoming a little redundant in talking about the Eagles and their mistakes.
Well, if they don't keep happening, we don't have to keep discussing them.
No, we don't, but it's becoming painful.
1st and 25 from the 26-yard line. Under pressure, he gets the pass off, going to fire.
Good for about a yard.
27, yeah.
But you know what? The other thing too is that Bobby Hoyne is taking a shot on almost every play. You know, he's dropping back. He's trying to let the plays happen down the field for him to materialize, and he's taking a shot on every play. He's moving out of the pocket. He's actually rolling into Leon Lett. It looks worse than it is, and you know your right tackle is not going to be very happy about that, Cooper. But you know, the pressure is coming from somewhere. And when you're a quarterback, you can understand why maybe Bobby is looking at the pass rush as opposed to the coverage.
And 24, under 3 minutes to play in the first half, and Deuce Staley, who broke off that earlier 46-yard run up to the 32-yard line.
This crowd
I've never
has
heard
been
it like
anesthetized.
You're right.
They are. I have never been at the Vet and heard such a docile crowd as the one we have going tonight.
They were never this quiet when I played here. This is ridiculous.
Not even at a Billy Graham revival have they been like this. 3rd and 19. Blitz, and that's picked up by Staley. Flags all over the joint. Hoyne goes back the other way, and Dion comes from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, to knock it down.
You're going to have holding on 87 done this time.
Al, I wouldn't pass the plate in this crowd right now.
No,
be slim pickings.
That's right.
What town did Dion come from?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Number 87. Penalties decline. 4th down.
I wanted you to say it again. It's like Groundhog Day.
That's right. The Eagle offense must think it's Groundhog Day.
You know, you can't hang the ball up like that. Solomon could have really helped his quarterback if he would have come back to it, but that Jason Dunn got beaten on the inside and just basically hauled down Leon Lett. Please kick me the ball.
Yep.
Dion's trying to wake up the crowd.
Hutton's kick.
Well, we will see a return here.
He gets his wish. He comes through 3 guys.
Kick the ball down the middle of the field.
It's Monday Night Football, and it's Deion Sanders. What else is new?
Unbelievable. This is the most extraordinary return man I have ever seen.
You know, and speaking with Ray Rhodes yesterday, he was saying how they were not going to kick the ball down the middle of the field.
Under any circumstances
will we
kick it.
You cannot tell me that the punter, Hutton, did the right thing by kicking the ball down the middle of the field.
Look how routine he makes this look.
He's an incredible athlete with incredible field vision and a terrific football player with unbelievable football sense.
Tommy Hutton might have been the only guy to touch him there at the very end as he grazed the back of his jersey.
That is the 20th touchdown that Dion has scored in his career. Chan Gailey telling us last night, boy, he's a lot different than I thought. He's a team guy. He's anything but selfish. He is just an extraordinary player. And he proves it again. 2-minute warning. Deion Sanders, 20 career touchdowns, 17 of those on returns. An NFL record. We've seen him now twice this year on a Monday night. Once in New York, once here. Returned a punt for a touchdown. And he has once again silenced this crowd.
I can only assume that Tommy Hutton was aiming for the sidelines and shanked it down the middle of the field.
Well, kind of like one of your drives.
It's right.
You're aiming for the middle, but you
shanked. Exact opposite.
It's the opposite. I know, but you're aiming and it goes. It's beside, I just can't imagine why you would kick the ball down the middle of the field to Deion Sanders.
Well, it had to be a mistake. Another mistake.
Now at the 5-yard line, this is Allen Rossum. And the rookie from Notre Dame.
Oh, there's a flag.
A flag down.
Unbelievable.
And that would have been a run back to the 50-yard line. Instead, they're going to start this drive well back. Al Wallace is the injured Eagle.
Joe Avezzano, you just caught a glimpse of him, the special teams coach for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the really fine special teams coaches in this league.
Number 58, during the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's another on Ike Reese.
There'll be nothing left but Reese's Pieces if Ray senses there be another mistake.
He's going to be Pee Wee Reese before this night is done.
I think it's safe to say right now Ray is not liking Ike.
Pretty good on election eve.
Hey, thank you. We may have to invoke the mercy rule here before long.
Speaking of election eve, there's a big election ballot for the Denver Broncos out in the city of Denver. A referendum to try to get a new stadium for the undefeated Denver Broncos. I don't think that they could be undefeated at a better time in their history.
Nope. Halftime report. Lexus's halftime report coming up. And yeah, the last thing I saw, Boomer, was the poll taken most recently indicated a 58% approval rate for that to happen in Denver.
Well, you know, the thing about it is when you think of the Denver Broncos, you think of what their owner has invested into their football team. You know, what John Elway has meant to that city, what, you know, and the support that they have as a football team. They have very, very passionate fans. They expect to win. They're obviously playing as well. If not, you know, they're actually better than everybody in the NFL right now.
Yes, they are.
Hey, you know, and they played a little bit down. They got away with a win in Cincinnati this past week. Give the Bengals credit. They played them hard. But, you know, they found a way to win a tough one on the road when they weren't playing their best. But it would be nice to see them have a new stadium out there.
Well, you made a good point, Boomer. Their timing to be undefeated facing an election couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better.
1st and 10. Wallace with that injury in the last 2 minutes that costs the team a timeout unless the Eagles have none as they begin this drive with Garner going through the middle.
Hello, Charlie. I'm Leon.
And interestingly enough, the Cowboys are calling timeout right now. And this is what we talked about, Dan. Don't give the team you're playing against that you're much better than any more opportunities.
Timeout, Dallas. Chan Gailey, last year the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh, helping to guide Cordell Stewart. Now in his first year as the Cowboys head coach, his team has just taken a defensive timeout. And on 2nd and 10, they're going to take another timeout here because Garner gets wrapped up by Omar Stoutmire.
And you have
they're going to call Leon Lett for roughing the passer, I think. I think they're going to get the big cat for roughing Bobby Hoying.
We'll see right here, Leon Lett
Personal foul.
at the top of your screen fighting through a double team.
78, 15 yards, first down.
A little close.
That is close. Leon, you're only allowed one step to the quarterback, Tom White, in his estimation, saying Leon was 2 away and drove him into the ground. The only thing you can say in Leon's defense, his head was off to the side, but it's a break. Let's see if the Eagles can do something with it.
First down at the 35-yard line. Hoying throws over the middle. It's caught by Solomon, and he's out to the 42-yard line.
Now this is a good opportunity for Bobby Hoying now to use the 2-minute drill and gain a little confidence in what he's doing. And he's calling the plays right here. This is where the quarterback has to take over.
2nd and 2. Again, the Eagles do not have a timeout. And he's looking for Fryer, but Fryer is out of bounds.
The ball probably would have been out of bounds even if he would have caught it. But you know, there are times in games where your players have to make plays. We saw earlier where Copeland let one go through his hands and Turner dropped one, and they're missing some plays here and there. But the fact of the matter is when the play presents itself, you as a player have to make that play. And right now, unfortunately for the Philadelphia Eagles, consistency is not there. their positive aspect of their offense.
3rd down and 2 from the 43-yard line.
They're consistently not scoring a lot of points.
11 per game, and Solomon makes the catch, picks up a first down to the 50. We've been giving you any number of ugly numbers tonight for Philadelphia. How about the fact we're almost halfway through the season? This team has thrown 2 touchdown passes. 2. None to a wide receiver.
And they haven't had a running back have a 100-yard game yet either.
I think that a lot of that has to do with an offensive line that has been they've been trying to rebuild this offensive line. It seems like for the last 5 or 6 years, they came in with basically a young quarterback, another new offensive coordinator. They didn't replace Ricky Waters. I mean, there are so many different things that you can point at, and now you thrust Bill Musgrave into trying to call an offense, and he's only been here about a month and a half.
John Gruden took their offensive line coach Bill Callahan with him to Oakland. So you're right. There's been a massive retooling here.
2nd and 10. Hoying nearly sacked, and he dumps it off, gets rid of it, and that's incomplete. Irvin McCormick had him wrapped up, and the flag goes down.
Well, that's got to be intentional grounding.
Well, he is going to call it intentional grounding, but he threw the ball at number 87, Jason Dunn. I just don't understand. Garner is telling him that right now. It looks like they might change it. Give them credit if they change it.
But now, even if there's a guy nearby, the ruling is if it was to evade a sack.
There's no infraction on the play. Number 87 was in the area.
Very good call by the official.
It's
incomplete pass.
But it ends up, it can be a judgment call by the referee, because intentional grounding is if he thought it was to evade a sack. There's an instance where he gave Hoying credit for being alert enough to see somebody and get it close.
What I like to see that the officials will realize that when there is maybe possibly a mistake, they'll correct it. And we always get on the officials when they make a bad call. We should give them credit for doing the right thing in this particular situation.
3rd and 10 from the 50-yard line. Hoying throws, and it's high and behind Garner. Ugh. 4th down.
That time Bobby Hoying had Russell Copeland wide open over the middle, about 15 yards deep, and when you're not seeing it, when you're not playing confidently, you miss those things because he wants to rush his decision making. When ultimately as a quarterback you want to just kind of relax in the pocket, make your decisions on seeing the entire field, and Bobby's not doing that right now.
Right now with the fans are missing, or Jaworski to Carmichael.
It's been quite a while, Al, since we've seen this kind of an offensive performance on Monday night.
Don't kick it down the middle of the field now, though. That's the key.
Well, maybe he should aim for the middle. Boy, he did.
Hutton. Well, no.
See, he aimed for the middle and kicked it out of bounds. That's Tommy. Now you got it.
You're right, though, Dan. I've covered sports in Philadelphia for a lot of years, baseball, football, other events. I have never heard a crowd. This is normally always a very knowledgeable crowd in Philadelphia, but boisterous.
Wonderful fan, and as a visiting player, it was fun to come and play here in Philadelphia because you knew they had a passion for it. They cared. Even when the Eagles were really awful, worse than this, they showed up. They showed up to yell and scream, but they were there. But this is more of a stunned resignation on the part of this team.
And it's a cumulative effect here, too. It's not just a nice game. This is a half season's worth of frustration.
If they keep going like this, won't the second half be a barrel of laughs?
Well, that's the half at Veterans Stadium, with Dallas leading by a score of 17-0. The Lexus halftime show coming up with the top 10 plays of the week, and we will return after this message from the National Football League and a word from our ABC stations. In Philadelphia, Al Michaels with Dan Dierdorf, Boomer Esiason, and Leslie Visser. 17-0 Cowboys.
This crowd being entertained by Bill Conti's theme to Rocky, trying to get them a little fired up here. They're pulling out all the stops.
Owens' kick is taken at the 1-yard line by Allen Rossum. And the Notre Dame rookie brings it back to the 29-yard line. A flag comes in. Kenny Wheaton makes the tackle. Further report on Rodney Peete, lacerated finger, and he will not return. So Rodney started the game, came out early on, and it's been Bobby Hoying since. And you've got offsetting penalties.
Illegal use of the hands against the Cowboys, holding against the Eagles.
It's really an amazing facet of what happens to a losing team. And Dan, you and I have both been on losing teams before, so it's not like something, we're experts basically.
I am an expert.
That's what I'm saying.
To the face, number 53. Holding, number 35, during the return. This is a double foul after change of possession. And by rule, the ball will be placed at the dead ball spot, first down.
That's the third penalty of the game on Anthony Marshall. He said 53 for the Cowboys, and there is none.
So a lot of people were making mistakes tonight.
Boomer, I had 4 winners, 1 500, and 8 losers. So
I know that
I'm an expert.
I was on 2 teams that were 3 and 13. So
you at least made it to a Super Bowl, though. You got to play in the big one.
First down as Deuce Staley takes it up to the 35. And Leslie, what's happening?
Al, it was a very discouraged team coming out of the Eagle locker room. Ray Rhodes said we are simply not taking care of the football. Tommy Hutton, who remember had such a tough game last year against the Cowboys, he said he was trying to kick it to the left. The last thing he wanted to do was kick it to Deion Sanders. You mentioned Rodney Peete. Ray Rhodes said it is severely lacerated. We may not see him for a while, Al.
So the woes just keep on piling up for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And keep in mind that Rodney Peete took the vast majority of snaps during practice. He was the guy that was ready to play, not Hoying.
Here's Deuce Staley, tackled behind the line of scrimmage, wrapped up. Loss of 1. Kavika Pittman.
Well, you want to see some lusty numbers? Take a look at these first half statistics.
This is unbelievable that the Cowboys actually have less yards than the Eagles. I mean, watching that first half, you would have never have thought that.
Well, Boomer, that's my point. Are they really playing well enough to win this game, or are they just picking up the pieces of the Eagles' self-destruction?
I think it's more the latter than, they're playing, but they don't have to play where they have to put up 200 yards in one half.
3rd and 6.
The points are what matter. 17 obviously is the more significant of the numbers.
Hoying is stopped shy of the first down. The Cowboys have really only had one decent drive, and that was the opening drive of the game, which bogged down and led to a field goal. Their touchdown to Irvin came after a fumble inside the 10-yard line, and the other score, of course, was Deion.
I look at the offense of the Eagles, and they're walking off the field. They got their heads down. I mean, this is not the way that you need to play offense in this game, in professional football.
Hutton looking for a shank. Doesn't get it. And it goes through Deion's hands.
He touched that ball. Oh, Deion. Boy, Deion pretty confident that the officials didn't think he touched it.
Is that a safety?
No, that'll be a touchback.
He muffed it.
Never a touchback goes out. Right.
Never had control. No fumble, just a muff, and then out of the end zone it goes.
The impetus of the football carried it on through the back of the end zone.
Deion probably so shocked that he saw another punt coming his way.
Deion makes a mistake here, though, when it's in the end zone. Right there,
you knock it out of the end zone.
Darn right, you can't give the Eagles a chance to recover it. And you're running the risk that one of the officials is going to say that you touched the ball in the field of play. That would have been a Philadelphia touchdown.
So the Cowboys retain it. 12:46 left in the 3rd.
You can see right here that Deion Sanders actually touches the ball with his right hand. Now Deion's got to go and get that ball and pick it up. If the Eagles recover it, it will be a touchdown. Deion should try to knock the ball out of the end zone to force a touchback because it was a muff. The impetus of the ball took itself out of the field of play.
Now it is Emmitt Smith taking it up to the 23-yard line. He's tackled by the middle linebacker, James Willis.
But, you know, another break for the Cowboys, and it was an opportunity right there for the Eagles to get a cheap touchdown.
Well, kudos to Emmitt Thomas and his defensive unit for the Philadelphia Eagles when there's not a lot of incentive to play other than the fact that you're a proud defensive unit. To hold the Cowboys to 91 yards of total offense in the first half, that's quite an accomplishment.
On 2nd and 7, Troy hits the Moose, Johnston, and he gets tackled at the 27-yard line.
You know, you were talking about 91 yards in the first half for the Cowboys, but if you look at the NFL rankings in terms of offenses, the NFC East has the 3 worst offenses in football, with the Arizona Cardinals, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Giants. And you wonder why the NFC East is where it is in terms of its record.
Emmitt on the left.
This guy's been a good defensive coordinator for a long time in this league.
3rd and 2. Aikman from the shotgun. A little toss dropped by Warren, but he picks it up and picks up the first down. Tim McTire makes the tackle. Chris Warren, the leading ground gainer in the history of the Seattle Seahawks, picked up his insurance and playing on 3rd down basically to this point this season.
Little toss out of the shotgun.
I mean,
that's a nice play by Warren staying with it.
It was a nice play by Chris to hang on with the football. There is a little wind, and we could see it with the punts when it gets up in the air, how it's actually pushing the ball towards the middle of the field. It looked like the wind knocked that ball down a little bit on this pitch.
1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. Troy going deep, and getting position was Billy Davis to make the catch at the 20-yard line. Turns, stopped, got position on Bobby Taylor, and picks up a lot of yardage. In fact, 44 yards.
Boomer, the dreaded underthrown pass. The receiver makes the adjustment on the ball. The defensive back does it.
Well, you know, the defensive back is running with his back to the line of scrimmage and really doesn't get a chance to see the football. Taylor gets here and actually turns the wrong way. If he would have turned the other way, he probably would have been able to make a play on it. But this is, first of all, it was a ball that probably shouldn't have been thrown. And really, it's just the state of the Eagles as a team right now, just turning the wrong way.
Set up the screen in a lot of traffic. Making the catch is Emmitt Smith. That's his first catch in 5 games, and he takes it inside the 10. Emmitt has caught a lot of balls through the years, but between Gailey's offense and Emmitt coming out on 3rd down, he had not caught one in more than a month.
There's a real emphasis on the wide receivers in Chan Gailey's offense, and he does a good job of calling screenplays and everything. That's why it kind of shocked me that, you know, Emmitt hasn't caught more balls on 1st and 2nd down.
Well, keep in mind those 5.5 games when Troy Aikman was not playing. A bit disruptive to the Dallas offense, regardless of how well Jason Garrett played in his absence.
1st and goal from inside the 10. Aikman throws, and it's almost intercepted by Troy Vincent.
And really what you're seeing here with Troy is that he's probably, he is. He's rusty from not playing. He's not as accurate. He's one of the more accurate passers in the entire NFL. And right now it just looks like he's off a little bit. He's got to play himself back into his comfort zone of delivering the football, accurately and where he wants to put it.
That was nearly a completion of Troy to Troy. The men of Troy almost not what Dallas was looking for.
2nd and goal from the 9. Smith to the outside. And Emmitt is thrust out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Making contact with our marketeer. Television talk.
A formidable weapon it is, too.
Yes, it is.
Platform that holds our camera. Yeah. And something tells me that if we punch up a replay from that camera, Emmitt Smith will be coming right at it.
There you go.
Breaks the tackle.
And almost the platform. 3rd down and goal from the 8. Aikman guns it to the back of the end zone, and it's caught by David LaFleur for a touchdown. David LaFleur, who scored the Cowboys second touchdown in their game against the Chicago Bears. In fact, it was their only touchdown that day against the Bears in Chicago 2 weeks ago. Hauls one in here to make it 23-0.
Did you ever have a tight end that big, Boomer?
No, but David LaFleur at 6'7", going against Michael Zordich, who's 6'1". And again, you know, when you talk about throwing the ball, you talk about throwing the ball high so your receiver can make the play and the defender doesn't have an opportunity to. And we've seen it twice now by Troy Aikman. Exactly how you want to deliver the football.
Richie Cunningham for the extra point, and it's anything but happy days in Philadelphia. 24-0 Dallas. Cowboys going 80 yards, 44 on the underthrown ball to Billy Davis. And the last few yards on a pass to that man, David LaFleur.
That's a big man. 6'7", 270 pounds. Woo.
Toby Goen spins one down to Allen Rossum in the end zone. And the Eagles will take over at their own 20-yard line with 8:36 remaining in the third at the Vet. And the Cowboys up by 24. Saturday, college football on ABC. Penn State, Michigan starts it out at noon Eastern time. Then regional action. Those games featured, including #1 Ohio State hosting Michigan State. And college football comes your way on ABC this Saturday and every Saturday throughout the fall. Getting a little chilly here in Philadelphia. And this crowd's pretty much sitting on its hands and under the blankets right now. 24-0 as Bobby Hoying has it knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
Now this is a part of the game now and really part of the season for Bobby Hoying to fight through all the things that he's experiencing. Every quarterback goes through it somewhere, you know, in his career. And you know, we see it with Ryan Leaf. Charlie Batch experienced it yesterday in Detroit. You know, and these are the types of things that all quarterbacks go through, even the great ones.
Cowboys have started their average drive at their own 37. The Eagles have been backed up to their 19. And this emblematic of that as they begin this drive from the 20. Hoying flips it over the middle. Deuce Staley. It's dragged down up at the 43-yard line by Fred Strickland. First down.
You know, you're just looking for little things now to build on, really, and you know, and it's you're trying to get any numbers you can, anything positive that you can build on. You can kind of get your confidence back, and really, when you're in a blowout situation, right, the way the Eagles are now, I mean, they really have nothing to lose. I mean, and you could, you know, and you just try to do anything you possibly can that's going to be positive, just so you can get a better feeling about what you're trying to accomplish.
First and 10 up at the 43-yard line. Hoying. That one is it's dropped by Fryer and incomplete. No fumble.
Mercifully, it was ruled an incomplete pass.
Close. Very close.
To demonstrate possession, all you have to do is have a firm grasp on the ball and get both of your feet on the playing field. It becomes a completed pass. Let's take another look at it.
Ooh.
Whoa. That looked like a completed pass. That was a good break for the Eagles that ball didn't belong to Dallas.
Second down and 10. Swing caught by Staley. Dion comes up to knock him down up at the 46-yard line.
You know, in that time, Bobby did a nice job of dropping back and reading the blitz and drawing the blitz to him. He knew that it was coming, and he dropped it off to Staley, his hot receiver. You know, and again, it's all a part of the maturation process of a young quarterback. And he's going to learn the hard way because this offense is struggling, and he's going to be bearing the brunt of all of the breakdowns that are happening around him.
You know, you can make a pretty good point that Bobby Hoying had more offensive talent around him in the Ohio State huddle.
You could.
Than he has here.
Third down and 6. And that one is thrown low and at the feet of Russell Copeland.
I mean, stop and think about it. Terry Glenn, Joey Galloway, Orlando Pace,
Ricky Dudley,
Eddie
George.
Richard Cooper down on the field, the talented right tackle of the Eagles. That was one of the most talented offensive football teams in the history of college football.
Injury timeout. Richard Cooper getting the assistance off the field, and so the Eagle woes continue as their left tackle goes out, or the right tackle.
Richard's been a good player in this league for 9 years. You have an awful lot of empathy with the members of the Philadelphia Eagles. It just, when it starts rolling downhill, it is just so tough to grab hold of it.
Dion dancing to the strains of Little Peggy March, waiting for an errant punt. Well, again, they kick it to Dion at the 9-yard line. And he is tackled before he can escape as Ike Reese, a guy who has incurred the wrath of Ray Rhodes on a couple of occasions tonight, comes down and partially atones for his earlier transgressions. Whatever the hell that means.
Glad he atoned for his transgressions.
That's right. First down from the 20. And this is Emmitt Smith, wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. James Willis leading the charge, second down and 10.
You can at least see a little fire out of James Willis. I mean, you know, it's hard to get excited if you're a defensive player and your team's down 24-0, but you still have to play. You still have to go after people. And there's a lot of talk about celebration after routine plays and things, but there are certain players that play at a high emotional pitch, you know, the entire game, and linebackers need to be those type of players, and they need to have a little of excitement going on for them.
Second and 10 at the 15-yard line. Eagles showing blitz, and it's picked up, and Aikman throws, and it's incomplete, and the crowd wants grounding, and there's no flag. Troy not outside the tackle box, as it were. And really no receiver in the neighborhood either.
Now, one of the things that you look for, and Dan, you probably know this, that coaches will turn on the films tomorrow, and they're going to be looking at players who are playing and the players who are giving up in this situation like this. And it's always one of the most embarrassing meetings for a team. And right now I see a lot of fight still left in the Eagle defense there.
Right.
They're coming after him, and you know, that's credit to, you know, the head coach Ray Rhodes and certainly Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator, that the players that really care are still playing hard.
Al, I think your call, by the way, was right on. That was intentional grounding. He was not outside the box.
Third down and 10 as Aikman throws, and that pass is a little high for Ernie Mills. Fourth and 10.
And again, they brought the blitz, and you know, you're always looking for positives somewhere along the line. And if there is a positive, it's been the pass rush, except for one series, the 81-yard series that they had at the beginning of the second half. I mean, the Dallas offense hasn't been the most potent of offenses.
No, they have not. Been a good battle going on down there. We saw the tail end of it right there. Larry Allen, the all-world tackle for the Cowboys, and his work tonight against Hugh Douglas.
They'll be going to punt. Billy Solomon back to receive it.
There's roughing the punter.
Roughing the punter because he got the kick away, and Matt Stevens was the guy who came in and tried to block it. And sometimes when you just miss it, the end result is you wind up going into the punter, and that is the call here.
Yep. You can have running into the punter that's only a 5-yarder, but that was the personal foul variety, the roughing the punter, which is 15 yards, and that'll be a Cowboy first down.
Oh, it's a Cowboy first down. It's not going in.
Roughing the kicker.
See Matt Stevens come in.
15 yards.
Ooh.
First down.
I would say that's more than running into the kicker.
There is John Harbaugh, the special teams coach. We talked about John before. Jim's younger brother and his father, Jack, college coach at Western Kentucky. And he's done a great job here. He was at Indiana last year. And the Eagles have had tremendous special teams problems, and they went out and they looked for a good young college special teams guy and wound up with John, whose units until tonight anyway have been doing a pretty good job.
They've been doing a very good job, and he's quickly made a name for himself here in the NFL circles for just having been here for only 7 games, now 8.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Emmitt Smith up to the 34-yard line. And let's take a look at the worksheet on one Emmitt Smith to this point of the game. 47 yards, so 3 more yards. He ties, and 4 more. He will become the leading ground gainer in the history of Monday Night Football.
Oh, what hooks we'll hang our hat on tonight.
Yes.
Anything. Please, anything.
They have not. They've been hard yards. This Eagle defense, they're still playing with some spirit.
And Emmitt Smith writing his name into the MNF record book out to the 50-yard line for a first down.
Is that book published anywhere?
Well, it may be. We may sell it tomorrow as part of our synergy and merchandising campaign.
We will temporarily stop the game while there's a ceremony down on the field.
Right.
Well, the actually Cowboys caught the Eagles in a blitz, and they ran the play away from the blitz. And you could see that the Cowboys actually understand and see where the blitz is coming from, and Troy makes an audible and moves it away from it.
Well, there it is in the history of this package. Emmitt Smith in 19 games, or 6 less than Tony Dorsett, is the all-time leading ground gainer as Aikman throws and Billy Davis makes the catch. An interesting way to look at that would be just a season is 16 games. So if you think about a season in which a guy gains 1,800 yards, and then you take a look at 19 games, which is a season plus 3, and there you've got Emmitt Smith.
A warrior.
He's great. He's been wonderful to watch through the years.
Troy Aikman, a couple of touchdowns, no interceptions.
He hasn't been spectacular, but he's been efficient. And the balls that he threw in the end zone for the 2 touchdown passes show that the accuracy is still there, and it will get better as the weeks go by.
From the 39, Smith again picking up 4.
And well, let's face it, what Dallas wants to do: A, win this game; B, fly back to Dallas with a healthy Troy Aikman.
ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. Touchstone Pictures' The Waterboy, starring Adam Sandler, coming to theaters this Friday. And Budweiser, This Bud's for You.
You weren't in that movie?
No, sir. I passed on that one. Costas did too.
You've been in almost everything here lately.
Yes, that's right. My career was short-lived in the motion picture business. 2nd and 7. This is Ernie Mills. Of course, you and me and Frank did Jerry Maguire, and it was nice of Tom Cruise to leave us the $11 we got for that.
I know. I feel. We had a chance to do Jerry Maguire, and that's why it hurt me so much that I got left out of basketball.
Oh, that's right.
What a crushing blow that was to me, Al.
Coming to a cable outlet near you, unfortunately.
Whoa, I hope it's not a pay-per-view.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to buy all the cassettes. 3rd down and 7.
Boy.
From the 37. Aikman. And that's caught by Irvin. Over the middle, down to the 22-yard line on the first down, tackled by Troy Vincent.
Very difficult for number 24, Tim McTire, to try to cover Michael Irvin. That time it was a matchup that the Dallas Cowboys wanted. They kept Michael Irvin inside on the slot, and McTire tried to cover him one-on-one. And, McTire just doesn't have the experience to be able to stay with a Michael Irvin who knows how to get off the line of scrimmage. You could see him, and he comes off and inside, and it's a wide-open throwing lane for Troy Aikman, who puts it accurately right where Michael wants it.
1st and 10 from the 22. Cowboys leading 24-0. Aikman to the end zone. Wide open is Billy Davis, and
there's a flag. There's a flag. You cannot hit a receiver when he's in a defenseless position. The NFL started cracking down on this, and the aforementioned Mr. McTire. I know you're going in there to make the hit, but they expect you to be able to pull up. Ray's going to contest this.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 24 defense hitting a defenseless receiver. Half the distance. First down.
Again, you know that if the receiver does not have the football and he is defenseless, and when you call for the ball, you better catch it. Definitely
no
penalty.
question.
Absolutely. Proper call.
Davis took a good 3 steps.
Another thing I like again is the accuracy that Troy has on his balls. It's right there. It looks like Billy Davis just lost it and took his eye off of it.
From the 12, Smith down to the 7-yard line.
You know, you look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule from here. You know, they go back home and they play the Giants, then at Arizona, then home against Seattle and Minnesota. I mean, you know, games and teams that these guys can match up with and certainly play with. And, you know, their home schedule, especially against another NFC East team, the New York Giants, it's going to be a huge game this week for them.
Well, this is a kind of a game a coach loves, guys. As you well know, they're going to get the win, but yet they've done enough things wrong that Changeli can get all over them this week.
You never want to be too comfortable in this league. That's the one thing.
2nd and 6, running the fade to Davis, and that's incomplete, covered by Vincent.
Well, Vincent would have been flagged for interference, except that ball was so far out of bounds, completely uncatchable.
No chance. Dallas wins this game tonight. They'll go to 5-3, and you know, the Arizona Cardinals defensively have really put a lot of pressure on teams that they played. They're struggling offensively, but you know, a team that also probably has a pretty easy schedule down the stretch in the second half, and they've set themselves up for a huge showdown with the Dallas Cowboys. And you know, a team that has kind of struggled, as you well know, and I do too, Dan, you know, that has obviously playoff possibilities as they sit right now.
3rd down and 6 as Aikman in the and almost picked off by William Thomas. Might have surprised them a little bit.
I think so too. You know, Boomer, the interesting thing about Arizona is they're 4-4, and yet they've been outscored by 45 points.
It's an amazing thing.
And they're at 500, and yet they've been outscored in their 8 games by a cumulative total of 45 points.
And the interesting thing, you look at that, they have Larry Centers, Rob Moore, Frank Sanders, Adrian Morrell. They have some outstanding offensive weapons to use.
25-yard field goal attempt by Richie Cunningham.
Don't forget that awesome quarterback from Arizona State.
The Snake. A man. Remember that Rose Bowl? Whew. What happened at the end, though? 27-0. Speaking with Troy Aikman is back to you, and Garrett holding the fort, as it were, 3-2 in his 5 games. And now Aikman back, and the Cowboys lead 27-0 as Toby going. Sends it into the arms of Allen Russell from the 1-yard line, and he's brought down up at the 19-yard line.
And again, you're inside the 20 if you're an Eagle offensive player. You have field position has been horrendous tonight.
So that I can go home and live in peace, I must wish my wife a happy anniversary tonight. Work has taken me away, but 19 years tonight.
Clearly, Debbie not listening to this, but we will get her a tape. Prove that you did wish her a happy anniversary.
If she's not listening, we're in real trouble. Cheryl, Linda, and Debbie, I think, are the only 3 we can count on.
I'm not sure about that. 1st and 10 from the 19, and that is caught by Jason Dunn for a 1st down up at the 42-yard line.
Well, you know, it's again, you never take anything for granted when you're on the field out there, and you're always trying to make positive plays, and you take anything you can from a game. And you know, little steps like this are certain things that Bobby Hoying can, you know, build on. I know it sounds redundant, but that's basically all you have left right now is your personal pride and the, you know, and it's basically the bunker mentality, you know, for the Eagles and its players.
1st and 10 after a 21-yard gain
Hoying almost has that one, and it is intercepted because it was bounced off a defensive back, Kevin Smith, and into the arms of Darren Woodson.
And you have a flag on the play here. It looks like it's going to be interference against the Cowboys.
Yeah, this flag way downfield, about 30 yards from the line of scrimmage.
You can see Bill Musgrave there talking to Bobby Hoying. Yeah, don't throw the ball over there.
Illegal contact, number 24, defense, prior to the quarterback leaving the pocket. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Omar Stoutmeyer.
Whoa, you can't do that, Omar.
Pretty good shot on Russell Copeland as he releases that hit beyond the 5-yard zone.
That's amazing that the officials don't miss more of those things. They usually catch it. They catch most of it, and almost all of the time it's the right call.
And that is caught by Kevin Turner across the 50 to the 45-yard line and close to a first down.
You know, Dan, when you were on the losing teams, I've always wondered what the motivation that guys use or, you know, try to tell one another in order to get them to continue to play and to play hard. Did you?
Well, I know it's an offensive line. We just had a tremendous pride about not letting somebody hit our quarterback. And, you know, we got involved in fights. There was pushing and shoving.
Did Conrad Dobler have anything to do with
that? Sure did. But you know what? You knew they were coming, and you just weren't going to tolerate it. And it's the hardest thing in the world to play offensive line in this situation. You know, it's Boomer. You made reference to something. You said it's all you have left.
That's exactly right.
It really is all you have left. You can't win this game, but you've got to at least walk out of here like a man with your head up.
Infraction on the play. Quarterback was out of the pocket. Incomplete pass. Second down.
They had thrown a flag and it was picked up. That's the end of the third quarter. 3 complete. At Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, the score after 3 is Dallas 27, Philadelphia nothing. And Monday Night Football returns after this from our ABC stations. Relatively easy schedule. Of course, when you play in this division with all of the division games, you are going to have a relatively easy schedule.
And they have 4 more division games, and 3 of those 4 division games are at home,
including one against Philadelphia. Second down and 10 from the 45. Hoying goes over the middle into the arms of Jason Dunn. Gain of 8.
Well, you know, this team obviously has to have a good look at the future and try to figure out where they have to fix their problems. And and coming into the season, they were very close to being the lowest payroll team against their salary cap, and I think that's significant in nature too, because you're playing against the Cowboys, who pressed right up against the cap, for 49ers, the Broncos, and the Packers, who are up there. I mean, those are the teams that are winning.
3rd down and 2. And nobody's home there.
Well, Boomer, you're right in the sense that money doesn't always buy you talent, but money wisely spent with a sharp eye for talent certainly does help out your roster. And this Eagles roster could use an infusion of talent.
It a lot of talent. I mean, but again, if you lose a Ricky Waters, you have to replace him. And if you believe that Charlie Garner is the answer, then give him an opportunity to fill those shoes if you can. You lose John Gruden, you have to go out and replace a guy like that.
On 4th down and 2, Hoying throws, and that is intercepted at the 20-yard line. It's Dion. And Hoying tackles him at the 41. Bobby's saying that's enough.
Now, this will go on Bobby Hoying's record, but he throws the ball and Russell Copeland falls down. I mean, Dion just happens to be in the right spot at the right time.
Per usual. Well, Jeff Lurie is the owner and CEO of this team. When he bought this team in 1994, he paid at that time the most money ever spent on a professional sports franchise in North America, about $180 million as Aikman throws, and it's incomplete. Everybody thought he was crazy for spending that much money. His investment has more than doubled and maybe even tripled, but that's of no solace to him right now with his team in this particular state. They have a lot of work to do.
Right, and say what you want. I mean, owners want to win football games. I mean, and they have to be fiscally responsible. I think it's the most important thing. I mean, you want to make sure that your team is going to remain fiscally solvent. But, you know, again, you look back at the salary cap situation here, and you see how little they spend going into the season. You know that you're not going to be able to compete with the big boys of the NFL.
There's Emmitt Smith picking up a first down.
Now give them credit. They have extended the contract of one Irving Fryer, and also today they announced a contract extension, with Bobby Taylor, their young cornerback, who's a very talented player, and they didn't want to let them get to free agency, and so those are active steps that are in the right direction.
And I think tomorrow's the last day that you can amend contracts and have the dollar figure applicable to the 98 salary cap.
First down from the 48-yard line, but as Smith picks up about 3, it's smart people running operations, spending money efficiently. I mean, look, you can say the Eagles have been on the cheap side, and then you go down the road to Washington where they spend $1 zillion on 2 guys in the middle of the defensive line, and tell me how they've been doing.
You know what it's all about? It's all about personnel. Do you make the right personnel moves?
And it's about your draft.
Well, that's personnel.
Yeah, right.
Do you draft well, and do you have a keen eye in the free agent market?
You still need, and your draft gets back to your core players. Your players like Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Eric Williams, players that, have been with the team and basically have grown up with the team, and then you pay those guys and you keep them. And, give Jerry Jones a lot of credit for being able to do that and to figure out how to do it and keep these players and let them play like they're playing now together and effectively.
Jerry figured it out a long time ago.
Number 23 defense. It's a first down.
I'll never forget the year he had the Emmitt Smith holdout. And let's keep in mind they won the Super Bowl by the time that season was over. Jerry said, this is not a personal thing. This is all about what the league has become, how you restructure a salary cap, how you do it. We want to pay him what he's worth, but I've got to do it in this particular manner. And he made a lot of people angry, but in the long run, he was dead right. Ernie Mills makes the catch at the 15-yard line.
I'll tell you where Jerry Jones' first really intelligent move came, and that was, if I'm going to buy myself a football team, I'm going to get a football stadium at the same time. And that's what has separated Jerry from the field a lot of times, is the amount of cash that he generates, because he controls the lease to Texas Stadium.
Yep, that's the new wave in sports.
That's right.
Not just the team, but the facility as well.
He has assets at his disposal that a lot of other owners in this game don't have. Jeffrey Lurie being one of them.
Exactly. First down from the 15-yard line. Smith. Emmitt looking for the end zone. Touchdown.
That's right. Leave that helmet on, Emmitt. He thought about it.
I don't know how much more you can ask from the Eagle defense. They've been out there most of the night. They've been giving great effort all night long, and
they're worn out.
They are worn out, and they've been leaned on, pushed around, batted around, and run over. But they line up and they give you 100%. And that's the one thing that I see in this football team, is that they haven't quit on their coach.
Well, Emmitt Smith has just gone over 100 yards. It's 101 yards. It's also on a night when he's become the all-time leading rusher in the history of Monday Night Football, with Cunningham for the point after. It is his 17th rushing touchdown on Monday night, and that ties him on the all-time list with Marcus Allen, and he's only 6 behind Allen all-time now with 117 rushing touchdowns. Emmitt Smith. Well, Deion Sanders tonight has run a punt back for a touchdown, and his interception helps pave the way for that last Dallas drive. which culminates in an Emmitt Smith touchdown, and the Cowboys on top 34-0.
You know, if this was a fight, Mills Lane might stop it. This might be a TKO with 11:02 remaining in the fourth.
Fielded at the 11-yard line by Alan Rossum. And then he brings it back out to the 25. Tackled by Izell Reese. $34-0, the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith has had some fabulous days against the Eagles. Evidence right there, 90 or more rushing yards in 12 consecutive games against Philadelphia. So the Eagles have yet to figure out a way to stop Emmitt Smith. That's over a 6-year period. From the 26-yard line. Hoying under pressure. A funny thing about the triplets for the Dallas Cowboys, Smith has had some fabulous days against Philadelphia.
You're going to talk about number 8, aren't you?
Well, Michael Irvin has had some pretty average days. I mean, Michael, when you look at him against the Eagles and against all others, about the same. But Troy's had his worst days against Philadelphia.
Tonight's win just brings Troy to 8 wins and 9 losses in his career against the Eagles. 53% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns and 15 interceptions coming into tonight's game. So, you know, he's improved on all of those numbers, but the Eagles really kind of own Troy.
2nd and 10. Whoa, triple coverage and a flag. And
a mercy flag. That was a mercy flag right there. The thing about the Cowboys, though, is that, you know, they have so many pros on that team that know how to win, know what it takes to win. And I think all was needed, obviously, was, you know, Chan Gailey to get in there, kind of resurrect the offense a little bit, give it a little bit more direction. You know, settle some guys down, especially Larry Allen. Stop moving him from guard on 1st and 2nd down to tackle on 3rd down. I mean, things that were so unconventional that it didn't make any sense. So,
well, that was out of necessity.
Right. Number 26. Defense, 1st down.
Kevin Smith. There's a look at Nate Newton. Monday Night Football being brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. First Union, your guide to the financial world. And the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac, wider is better. That was a 39-yard penalty on Kevin Smith. And then Hoying throws the ball into the end zone, and nothing but white shirts down there.
You know, as we head into the second half of the season, guys, you look at top of some of the divisions, and in the American Conference, the AFC, you take a look at the AFC East and what Doug Flutie is doing and what Vinny Testaverde is doing. And you know, New England got back on track yesterday. Miami is still right in the mix. I mean, this is really going to be an interesting run for the money. Especially in that division.
5-3, 5-3, 5-3, 5-3.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's just going to come down to the last week of the season. And how great would it be if it was the New England Patriots visiting the New York Jets the last week of the season to decide possibly, you know, the division winner there.
Well, it would be great for fans of those two teams. Not so good for Miami and Buffalo. But.
Yeah, you know, hey, it also, you know, given the situation there as well. I mean, how great is Doug Flutie playing right now? I mean. As well as anybody in football.
There are a lot of wonderful stories taking place here in the first half of this season. But
Randall Cunningham. But
hard to find one better than Doug Flutie.
Right, exactly.
3rd down and 7 as Hoying goes under pressure, and that's incomplete, and it's 4th down.
Probably one of the most unheralded players in all of professional football is Jamal Anderson from the Atlanta Falcons. Yep. Had over 200 total yards yesterday.
And he's been doing it. He's been doing it for years in Atlanta.
Right,
last couple of years.
I mean, and you know, and the job that Dan Reeves has done down there.
Well, we've been around Dan Reeves for a long time, and it's hard to be any happier for a guy than we are for Dan Reeves. One of football's really good guys, and good coaching.
Right.
This guy wins no matter where he is.
And two teams that I think are kind of awakening from the dead a little bit, Tampa Bay and Tennessee. Getting a little life going now.
They've been slumbering, you're right.
Dallas takes a timeout. Mongrel. Sunday night, it's Tennessee against Tampa Bay on ESPN. And then on Monday night, we go to Pittsburgh. This is a most intriguing matchup. The Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pack seemed back yesterday, and the Steelers somehow, after the road win at Kansas City, losing to Tennessee. 4th down and 7 here as Hoying throws off his back foot.
Major holding.
Out of bounds.
Major holding, too, on the Eagles up front. I think Leon Lett got hog time. They did every. Man. You know,
holding. Number 76. Penalties decline. There'll be a first down for Dallas. Timeout.
Barrett Brooks, the offensive tackle. Watch this one. There he is at the top. There's holding, and then there's that one.
See what guest columnist Jason Sehorn has to say about this week's action on NFL.com.
Mike the Mighty Quinn comes in off the bench as Troy Aikman's night is done. 34-0, and Jason Garrett's the number 2 guy, and then they signed Quinn as the number 3 guy, and they'll give Mike some game experience here tonight.
I know things are going well when you just leapfrog the number 2 guys.
You want to get a little extra time in for Quinn. It's a good job by Chan Gailey getting his kids some playing time, and you never know. He believes in him. He had him in Pittsburgh.
And he gives the ball to Chris Warren.
And that's a nice guy to give the ball to at the end of the game, isn't it?
Things are going so well, we'll probably see Babe Laufenberg in the game before it's over.
He's here, I'm sure.
He's right in the booth next to us, doing the radio. There he is.
Chan Gailey.
Thomas Chandler Gailey
was a coach, a head coach in the World League of American Football, the Birmingham, what was it, Boomer Fire?
Birmingham Fire, that's right. Yes, it was. I know that.
You covered that group.
I covered that. Yes, I did.
2nd and 4 from the 38-yard line.
Boomer's only stint in the minors.
Yes.
20 games, 2 years worth, boys.
Did you do 20 games?
20 games, yes. With one Brad Nessler.
Birmingham at Stuttgart. I mean, who was in that?
No. We spent a lot of time in San Antonio, though. San Antonio, what were they? I forget. But we had the New York, New Jersey, what were they? Knights, that's right, the Knights. It was so long ago. I've been hit so many times since
San Antonio
then.
Riders?
Yeah, maybe the Riders. Yeah, the Birmingham Fire, the Sacramento Surge, the Thunder from Orlando.
Did Columbus have a team?
That's a first
No,
down.
Columbus didn't have a team. Montreal had a team.
Montreal.
Wasn't the Alouettes?
No, it was
Foie Gras.
God, I can't remember.
Or is it Foie Gras?
The Celine Dion's.
The Montreal Machine.
The Machine, that's right, yes, okay. We had the Breakers of New England, right?
First down, Dallas up at the 43. And Warren again up to the 46-yard line.
Oh, interesting. Also around the league, you know, the Raiders have won a couple games here now with Don Hollis, kind of a journeyman quarterback. He was with me in Cincinnati as a backup back in, I guess it was '92, and really has done a good job and won a tough game in Seattle last night. And you know, you have to give John Gruden a lot of credit, and it just goes to show you how much impact and input a good, solid offensive mind can have on a football team.
Willie Shaw has that defensive unit of the Raiders playing very well.
And they went from 30th to number 1.
Yep, I'd say that's a turnaround.
And I believe they have second. Are they second?
No, I said 2nd and 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Al, will you stop interfering?
Stop interrupting us. Come on, we're talking over here.
Stream of consciousness, I understand. The Breakers, Boomer, by the way, were in the USFL.
Oh, they were. I don't know.
Yep, I'm being
idea.
told that right now by Mr. George Hill, who is
who's a big fan.
Very
who's a big fan of the World League. He wants to make sure
the
that's
USFL
right.
kind of like what Carl Sandburg was to Abraham Lincoln.
I actually went to the first USFL game played. It was the Breakers playing down in Tampa Bay.
It's the Bandits.
That's right.
3rd down and 5 from the 48-yard line.
I was there, Tampa State.
And this is Warren. No team in the history of the league has lost 2 home shutouts by 30 or more points in the same season, and that is the dubious distinction awaiting your Eagles.
Seattle came in here and hammered them.
38 zip.
Week, right?
Opening day.
Yeah. But do you get a sense, though, in watching in some of the games that at least that it seems like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are finally awakening a little bit?
Oh, yesterday. It was
and we'll be down there.
Game.
What, December 7th?
Against Green Bay.
Yeah, that'll be some night. What is it, Raymond James Stadium?
It is. And that punt is down inside the 10-yard line by Dexter Coakley as the Dallas Cowboys down it.
And you know, the recipe for success is to win your home games, and that's exactly what Tampa has done. And you know, they haven't fared very well on the road, but a team who I still think has enough defense and big-time quality offensive stars to really play with anybody in this league.
The problem that Tampa Bay has right now is a team with such high hopes is looking at best a wild card.
Being in the same division with Minnesota and Green Bay.
And we all know
still
how
have
tough
8
it is
games to go,
to
though.
play those 3 games. Well, they've got to leapfrog 2 teams, and they're already 3 back of Minnesota. But yesterday was a vital game for them to win. Hoying throws, and it's caught by Kevin Turner. He is bumped out of bounds by Charlie Williams. On the ABC Thursday night movie, Expect the Impossible with Tom Cruise.
That was a great movie.
It sure was.
And we had a lot of fun doing it for those $11. 1st and 10.
I think everybody's waiting for his new movie. What is it? Eyes Wide Shut? Stanley Kubrick.
They've been shooting it since 1948.
Well, they actually started before Jerry Maguire, I think. And it has become Mission Impossible.
It has.
No, there's the guy in charge of Mission Impossible. Bill Musgrave calling plays for the Eagles. Yes, Boomer's pounding on me because people are holding up a sign down there. Put in Boomer.
That's all right. I like that. It's my family. Way to go. I like it.
Not with that offensive line. 2nd and 7. And that's thrown behind Russell Copeland. 3rd down.
Well, you know, the one thing about it is I've been in this situation, and it is not pretty. And then when you're dropping back the pass and the defense has no threat of the run, it's not an easy place to be. And things that have gone wrong tonight, you know, show a lot of inaccuracy, show a lot of just. It seems to me that they're disoriented offensively. And you know, the only way you get through it is to go to practice and continue to work. And unfortunately for the Eagles at this point, the season still goes on. They still have 8 games to go.
Irving Fryer makes the catch. I still like your enema idea best.
Well, I don't know. You know, I mean, that's the way I always felt like after a game like this. I just want to go home and forget about it.
Now I have the distinction of being the only guy in this booth that has not used that word. A distinction I am proud to hold.
Is there something you better than us or something? Or
well, Leslie may get it in before the next one too.
If she's not frozen down on the field.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. 5:47 left in regulation. A blitz, and Dexter Coakley, what a sack in his last game plus an interception. Sacks Hoying here. Cowboys are heading home right after the game. Coakley coming in off the edge. And Dallas taking on the New York Giants next Sunday. Then they go to Arizona.
And that is going to be a huge game for the New York Giants after losing to Washington yesterday. They're 3-5 right now, and they're going to need that one desperately.
Cowboys.
Cowboys have never shut out the Eagles in 74 games.
Well, back to 1960. As pass floats, and then it is knocked down by Darren Hambrick.
You know, that's an amazing graphic that we just put up there, in the sense that you think of all the great Cowboy defensive teams, the doomsday defense of the early 70s, and you know, players like Bob Lilly and Randy White, Too Tall Jones, and Harvey Martin, and some of those just fabulous defensive teams that never were they able to get a goose egg against the Eagles.
And this one is going to come on the road, assuming Philadelphia doesn't score, as Hoying gets flushed out, throws, and it's knocked down.
Something that I don't understand here is you see how Bobby Hoying, as he rolls out to his right, two of his offensive linemen on the left side just let their players go. I mean, you know, what is that all about?
Well, I don't know that at this stage of the game, Philadelphia shouldn't be running the ball every now and then.
Well, you know,
putting the ball in Bobby Hoying's hands, making him throw it every down is.
You still have to do your job when you're out there, and you could just see this. I mean, it's like a jailbreak, and you know, somebody can get hurt if you're not careful.
They sent Kevin Mathis back to return this kick, as Dion will take the rest of the night off. Flags come in from every angle as it's run back to the 31-yard line. Tom White. I think we've had a flag on every play in the kicking game tonight.
As I look around this stadium, I wonder why anybody would still be here. I'm assuming a lot of these people have lost their car keys.
I think it's the maintenance crew.
That's pretty good there. I like that one.
I think these people have lost their keys.
Either that, or they really care about their Eagles, which wouldn't put it past them for that either. It's a pretty impassioned group of people here in Philadelphia for their Eagles, and you know, their Phillies, their Flyers, and their Sixers. I mean, they're a pretty proud city.
I don't disagree with any of that.
And
it's still 25 after 11 here.
It is, you know. And
work day tomorrow.
Chris Warren stopped at the line of scrimmage.
But you know, even as bad as it gets, Dan, and you know this, I mean, this is still their team, you know. This is how bad it's gotten right here. They weren't that nice to me last year when we played here.
No, it's an unusual sign of compassion and generosity being displayed here.
I don't know about compassion, maybe generosity, but not compassion.
No. Compassion is getting to stand up here.
Mike Quinn, the quarterback, and Chris Warren just running out as much of the clock as they can.
Calvin Hill. Tremendous running back in this league. The Cowboys, Redskins, and of course, you end up with a son who's more famous than you.
But who's out of work at the moment.
Yes.
Grant Hill, the great Detroit Pistons star.
What a magnificent family the Hills are. And there's another guy, Jim Jeffcoat, working with the coaching staff, with the defensive line here in Dallas. Oh, what a player. What a player he was for the Cowboys all those years, and then went to Buffalo. Got to engage Jim in a conversation about Marv Levy and how much he enjoyed playing for Marv in Buffalo. In fact, I'd like to engage him in that conversation right now.
5-yard penalty.
And there's another guy while we're on it. Number 40, Billy Bates.
Yeah, I'd like to get Marv on the phone right now, is what I'd like to do. I miss Marv Levy.
I miss Marv. I miss
one of the all-time great ones, guys. You know, and for play, you know, I know a lot of players who have played for him, and they speak nothing but just rave reviews about Marv Levy and how he handled that football team. And you know, that team made it to the Super Bowl 4 times, and even though they lost, and one of the reasons they did make it is because they didn't commit that many penalties.
225 total yards walked off in penalties. just the ones that were accepted tonight.
Yeah. But they would tell me about Marv Levy after those losses and some of the most difficult emotional times for the teams up in Buffalo, but it was always rather stoic and stood up in front and led by example and did it and never panicked. You know, he never lost his composure.
Well, class act. Is that Constitution Hall?
Independence Hall,
Independence
I believe.
Hall?
I was actually looking at the horse, figuring we were going to have the results from the 4th at Monmouth up next, but I caught a glimpse of the building on the.
That's my horse. That's my horse. He's so slow he finishes first in the next race.
3rd and 14 for the Dallas Cowboys from the 15-yard line in a game that has been dominated by Dallas. The catch is made by Jeff Ogden. And that's his first NFL catch, a rookie out of Eastern Washington.
Oh, boy, he looks like look how young. Hey, look how young he looks.
Is Eastern Washington out there in the Palouse anyway?
It is, sir. You're exactly right. Eastern Washington is in the Palouse.
Boy, look at how young he looks, man. That makes me realize why I retired.
Toby going. And the Cowboys will soon be going homeward, and with a record of 5-3.
Oh.
It hits the Cowboy defender coming down there.
Well, I think something about giving a guy the right to catch the ball.
Charlie Williams.
This will be a penalty against him. We've got the Eagle is injured. I don't know what Charlie was thinking about there. You got to give the guy a chance to catch the football.
Alan Rossum was the receiver.
Oh, and that's a vicious hit.
It's a dangerous thing to be going down there like that, out of control.
Well, Rossum's looking up at the ball.
Oh. You have to be more aware about what's going on out there. I mean, the game is rough and tumble as it is, and it is definitely a violent game, but you have to play it with a sense of understanding exactly what's happening out there.
You're in a very vulnerable position when you're in Alan Rossum's spot right there. You have to just assume that that's just a complete loss of concentration on Williams' part. Big lead, game's almost over.
That is
interference. Number 25, 15 yards, first down.
Well, that was a helmet-to-helmet collision.
It seems like every week more and more plays like this are happening. But you know, the one thing that you could take solace in the fact that the medical staff of every NFL team is well schooled in the drills, and they're always going to err on the side of conservative. They're going to make sure that the player is completely all right before they remove him from the field. And you know, they're prepared for things like this, and they're sitting him up right now, so that's a good sign.
Well, the Eagles tonight, it's been not only a dreadful night for them on the scoreboard. Rodney Peete, starting quarterback, went out with a lacerated hand. Richard Cooper left the game, and that didn't look particularly good in terms of the next few days. Anyway, James Darling went out early, the linebacker.
I think that Alan Rossum has probably been the most active Eagle tonight anyway. He's had a pretty good game returning kicks tonight, and it's an unfortunate situation that, you know, some players get out of the realm of reality when they're playing the game. And you know, you hit physically. They tell you to hit, you know, in a violent nature, but they tell you to do it within the rules. And that's to make sure that players like Alan Rossum don't get injured. That's it. Hit him in the head. What are you thinking about?
Well, this is Nice to see Allen walking off like his neck got bent back at an awkward angle on that collision. So, but I got a bit of a dazed look.
There's a dazed look right there as well. And he didn't even get hit.
Worst part about a loss like this on Monday night, no day off. You got to come in tomorrow and go right back to work and somehow try to shake this off if you're a member of the Eagles.
1st and 10 up at the 47 for Philadelphia. Keep it on the ground, and this is Carl Hankton. Stopped by a passel of Cowboys. Short week for the Eagles, who at least get to remain home.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, well, you're right. That's a good point. Detroit comes in here, and then they have a 3-game road trip at Washington, at the Giants, and then at Green Bay. Lucky Eagles get to go to Lambeau Field.
You know, I always hated going and playing back home when my team wasn't doing well, because as soon as your home fans turn on you, you know, now you're playing against 2 teams.
2-minute warning. A reminder, after the game, stay tuned to ABC. You'll either see your late local news or other local programming, or if you want a post-game analysis and wrap up, go over to ESPN.
Analysis of what?
Well, I'll tell you one thing they can analyze is that, I mean, think about the enormity. We put it up before, but no team in the history of the league had ever been shut out twice at home by 30 or more points. And when you think back, I mean, there have been a lot of bad teams and a lot of football played through the years in the NFL. That is pretty astounding.
And you wonder how it happens. You take a guy like Ray Rhodes, who has won here and won, you know, with some consistency, has taken this Eagle franchise to the playoffs, won in the playoffs, and then to find himself at the helm of a ship that is listing this badly. He didn't forget how to coach.
2nd down and 14 as Hoying has that one dropped.
Too many player changes, too many coaching changes, just not enough consistency in the front office. I mean, it goes from top to bottom and bottom right back up from the top. I mean, the coaches expect consistency and professionalism from the players. The players expect it from the coaches, and the players also expect it from the front office. I mean, and you have to have it running throughout the organization. And it when it gets this bad, I think a little bit of, well, actually everybody deserves a little bit of it.
Yeah, you're right.
3rd down and 14. Irvin McCormick.
You know, a couple years back, a young player by the name of Glenn Foley took over for me in a game, in a situation like this, and I told him at the end of that game, you know, we're out of it. You have to be careful. You have to protect yourselves, because, you know, there's a defeatist attitude in your huddle, and there's on the other side, they're looking for sacks. They're looking for numbers. They're looking for different things to, you know, pad their statistical situations. And if you're Bobby Hoying right here, you don't want to hold on to the ball. You want to get back and get rid of it. Don't hold on to it.
Almost got sacked again, gets it off, juggled, the ball is lost. It wouldn't have been a 1st down anyway. It's now ruled incomplete, and Dallas will take over on downs.
Boy, didn't that look like a completed pass?
It certainly did.
That's what? How did they rule that an incomplete pass?
Mercy.
Yep. Mercy call. Our thanks to our gang up in the booth. Lynn Vandenberg, as always, keeper of this kennel. George Hill, our fabled statistician.
Such a good job tonight, Lynn.
Once from the Palouse country. And our spotter, Malibu, Kelly Hayes. who, by the way, Boomer, does not live in Malibu.
I know. He lives in Colorado. Still has a tan, though.
Used to be the mayor of Malibu.
Is that the way it was?
He was. Ran on a platform, read my lips, retroactive tax cuts.
Is that a hint for tomorrow?
Well, just get out and vote. That was Dan's platform once.
Brought to you,
Yes.
brought to you by that great American, Al Michael.
I think that if you're, I think if you're Troy Aikman, you have to be a little bit relieved. You know that you took some hits on your shoulder. He's going to be a little sore tonight. Put some ice on it for the ride back home. Take a few aspirin. And feel good about his performance. He was accurate when he needed to be, and in control. He looked like he had poise as the game went on.
And a Quinn kneel down will end it. So the Cowboys get Aikman back, remain in first place in the NFC East, start the second half of the season with a 1-game lead over Arizona, and go home to face the New York Giants, a team reeling after yesterday's loss to Washington. And the Eagles, well, who knows?
Who knows is right.
1-7. Detroit comes in on Sunday, but Mr. Gailey and his team going back in pretty good shape.
Troy's healthy. Michael got a touchdown catch. Emmett got over 100. Dave Campos' defense got a shutout. Boy, what more do you want?
The triplets and Good D and Big D.
And Dion ran one
And
back for
Dion.
a touchdown. Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Absolutely. 34-0.